This is week 3 of the questions and comments. You question and I comment for the closed group, private group. There's level 1, there's level 2. Both levels will see this video. The difference between 1 and 2 is at level 2, the questions that we like, we will send you free shit. So it's the difference between $1 and $5. So Jade Davenport, if you were starting over in the same location, what would you do differently? How have your priorities changed? What do you think he's talking about, like for the permaculture landscape design stuff, or what do you think he's asking?
Well, I don't know, that's a couple of different answers, because
so what would I do differently? I don't know how to answer that. I'm not sure what you're asking. I wouldn't buy a bunch of watches and cars. I would take that money instead and put it into property. Buy more property than you think you can afford. Buy more property than you think you want. When we came on the property and we walked in the building, it's 10,000 square feet. We're like, holy shit, we'll never fill this up. And now we're adding another fucking building. You will never have enough buffer between you and other people. As far as if we're talking about ponds and gardens and stuff like that, you almost don't know. What you think is the perfect design is never the perfect design. And a lot of times to get to where we are now, we had to do all that shit that we would now say we didn't do. But had we not done it, we wouldn't have evolved to this point. I know that's not really the clear-cut answer you're looking for. Fences. I have more money almost in fencing on the property. I have more money in fencing on the property than I paid for the property. But start fencing. Immediately start fencing. If you want to build soil, you have to have animals. You have to have some kind of ruminants. And I'm always amazed, almost baffled by people talking about predator problems and all the ways they're going to solve them and they're going to do all this shit. If you just had a dog, you would have 0 predator problems. I have friends that live in the city here in town, have beautiful gardens, but they're constantly, the deer are eating my gardens. If you simply had a fence and a dog, you would have 0 problems. People talking about, I'm gonna put this netting up so the hawks don't get my chickens, and I'm gonna keep my chickens inside my pens. If you just had fencing and a dog, you would have 0 aerial predation problems. It literally fixes everything. And nobody wants to do it because it involves hard work or it involves a lot of money. And it is. But you can do it in sections. Build your fence in a manner that you can add on to it. If you can't afford to bring in an auger and put fence posts in and do all that, T-posts. You can hit them with T-posts. It's money and knowledge, right? The more you have of one, the less you have to have of the other. And that's kind of how I look at fencing, right? It's raw energy or money for technology. You can do a T-post setter. The first time you do it, you will feel trashed the next few days, like you've never been in a gym, like that feeling. You can also buy one that runs on propane. You can buy one that runs on compressed air. You can buy one for $600 to $1,000. It'll drive those T-posts in like crazy, nothing you've ever seen. You can buy an attachment for a tractor. The guys doing real amounts of fencing, they don't do any of that shit. They have an adapter that goes on a tractor, or they have a walk-along tractor, and they actually will just drive a 6, 8, or 10-inch pole straight into the ground, just piled, bump, 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 bump. That's the difference, right? But that's a $100,000 machine, or that's a $15,000 attachment. Most people having this conversation, they don't have the money for that. So, and I think you learn a lot too. You will learn a lot running a manual T-post setter, because when you have to fix one thing, when a tree wipes out a couple of your T-posts or something, you're going to know how to do that. You're not going to pull out all that bullshit. You're not going to call that company and make an appointment for 6 weeks to come fix your shit. You're going to know how to do it. And in doing stuff the hard way and the wrong way, you learn. And you almost have to do things the hard way and the wrong way to get to the higher level. It's almost like a rite of passage. GB, have you always given 0 fucks, or was that learned skill over the years of life experience? I don't know that. Why do we give 0 fucks, right? Why do you not give 0 fucks, I guess is the question. And the real answer is fear of repercussion, right? If somebody's an asshole at work and you want to, slap the shit out of them, why do you not do that? Fear of repercussion. They'll call the cops. The police are going to put you in jail overnight. You're going to have to go to court. A customer is shitty to you or your staff. Why do you not handle that right on site there? Fear of repercussion. Human Resources Department. They oftentimes will punish the employee rather than the customer, right? And we've seen that everywhere. We've seen that especially in the last 10 years or so, right? The customer's always right. You can see it when you go to a restaurant, especially a shitty restaurant, like a family restaurant, Ruby Tuesdays or Denny's or someplace where you have a lot of like, middle class customers. You'll see the dude in there, and they've usually got the kids that are running around, and it looks like a food fight happened when they left. It's usually those customers. And the dude eats half his meal, complains to the girl that brought the food out that his steak wasn't done right, even though he fucking ate it already. And what's the first rule for management, human resources? Appease the customer, quiet him down so he doesn't make a scene for the other customers, and then bribe him, right? Hey, we're sorry, we'll bring you a new meal. Here's some free dessert. Here's a discount. Please come back and treat our employees shitty again. So I'm not in a position where I can be fired. Like, you can't fire me. You can't internet counsel me. You can't do anything. You can't call my boss and say I'm a bad representative of the company because I own the company, right? And the first time when we really saw it, we always kind of had these conversations. We would cancel and refund people when they would complain and kind of make a scene over it. For a long time, you didn't pay us. You told us what you wanted, we built it, and then we would send you payment information. And then every Friday, guys that didn't pay, we would do a video on Friday and go, this dude didn't pay, here's the gear, this dude, and we would do that, and guys would claim it right on that video when we'd put it up. They're like, I want that, I want that, I want that. Or I would take it and put it online, and all that shit would sell out. And a lot of people loved those videos. We weren't like cussing them or anything. We're just like, this dude didn't pay, canceled and refunded, you're never a customer again. We built this shit because you asked for it. But then like somebody called through PayPal. You had to have a cell phone linked to the account, and it used to be one of our real cell phones that we had linked to the account. So somebody had ordered something like on Friday. I think it was Friday. It was Thursday or Friday. Somebody ordered something and emailed a man, and he ordered it, I want to say it was Friday. Ordered this shit at like 5 o'clock, close of business. And back then we would take like all the employees, we would take all the guys, and we would leave at 5 o'clock and go have dinner someplace. And oftentimes that's an hour away, 30 minutes away, whatever. So that night at like 10 o'clock, Amanda's checking voicemail, and she gets this voicemail, and the dude's like, you motherfuckers, hey, you fucking cunt, how come I don't have shipping on this? I ordered this, and I need it this weekend. You ordered it on Friday. You were never getting it this weekend. We don't have an option for next day shipping. Even if we did, it wouldn't ship till Monday. So I wrote down all the shit this dude said, read it out on a video, and posted it on the internet with his phone number and all his shit, right? Well, he had to cancel his fucking profile, make it private, had to change his phone number. I just didn't care. I didn't give a shit what was going to happen. And Amanda's like, well, what's going to happen? I go, I don't care what happens. But what happened was, and you were starting to see backlash and internet cancelings and the kind of the woke crowd. It wasn't what it is now, but it was kind of starting to happen. But it worked reverse of how all that shit normally happened, right? We had there, like when I woke up that morning, there was 1,000 comments. It was well over 1,000 comments. And it was people like, man, I wish I could say this to shitty customers. I wish my boss would do these things. I wish I had a business like this. And I'm like, why don't you, right? Why don't you have that conversation? What is it going to take for you to be able to do that? And that's just kind of how that shit started. But now I'm in a position in life right now where I live in a very impoverished town. We hire everybody we can. If I have an employee on staff, they really are good employees. Like, we don't have shitty employees. You have to really be a good caliber person to work here in my company, because I might hire you and give you a few months where we're training you, but you always have to improve. And if you're not improving, you're declining and you're not keeping up with the pace. So I don't have shitty people around me. I just don't fucking I look at things for a long time. You'll go for 6 months maybe where I'm like, look, yeah, that guy's fucking this up, this girl's fucking this up, but everything she does is something we don't have to do. but you will catch me with your mediocrity on a day when I'm just not going to have it, and you will cease to be here. So you have to really perform to be here. We have really, really good people, and I say that to say this: we sell everything we make, and I can't make any more of it without going off site or relocating business, and I'm not doing that. So I don't have to tolerate shitty customers, and I can even have fun making fun of them. And I mean, look at it. When I make a video blasting somebody or saying some mean shit, those videos go viral. They get hundreds of comments right away on them. You can go see some from last week on Instagram. When I make a video giving real value that could truly change your life, if you just implemented a few things that I say, that day the outcome of your day would be business. That day your day would be better, right? Just by implementing a few little things. But they only get 3 or 4 comments. That's just people just love negative shit. And until people realize that when you have negative shit in your life, it's going to attract negative shit, and when you have positive shit, more positives coming, they cannot grasp it. You have been poisoned by this. So I don't know if I answered your question.
I have some stuff to add to that.
Yeah.
Number one, you're talking about being canceled. The only people who get canceled allow it to. And perfect example is Kevin Hart. He didn't allow anybody to cancel him. He just said, "No, I'm not doing this anymore, and you can come see me if you want or not." And then everybody was like, "Okay." It's the first time you apologize is when they're going to want you to apologize for something else, and it keeps going. And the second thing is, it's not necessarily about not giving a fuck. It's about giving a fuck about what you really find top priority and not having time for anything else.
Yeah, it's about not suffering fools.
Yeah, because you give a fuck about a lot of stuff. Everything that you do, you give a fuck about, but you don't have time to deal with the other stuff.
Right, and if you operate as though everyone you're around is contagious, and you're going to catch something from them, if that's a negative person, you're going to catch negativity. If it's a mediocre person, you're going to become mediocre. So you really need to limit access to yourself, and the people that you give access and the things that you give attention to, they have to make you better. And I don't know if it's just an age thing or what it is. I don't know. Had I known this 10 years ago, right? And when I said I wouldn't buy watches and cars, right? Buying those watches and cars got millions of views on watches and cars, and people are like, "Who is this dude?" When we'd go in and drop 50 grand on a watch, I got a ton of attention for it. So would we be here right now? I don't know had we not done that shit.
To this day, maybe once every 2 weeks, I get the buying a Hublot in Vegas video suggested.
And and if you look at the most watched videos, it's still the paid for by haters videos.
Yeah, that was paid for by haters, the other one.
and the fucking blasting people on the internet videos. Those are the ones that get the most views to this day. And the butthole tattoo is our number 1 ranked video.
I see that
every fucking week.
Yeah, and like I've never clicked on it because I remember seeing it before and there wasn't much to it.
Well, there was like 6 of them, but they deleted all the others. Yeah. So Chuck People's asked, what's your personal mindset? What is your personal mindset and keeps you motivated to continue all the prepping, food production, animals, all of it? Giving up the luxury buys, as you stated, and concentrating on infrastructure and growth on the compound. A big part of it was like, people were like, "Do you still have all those watches?" And then there's a lot of whisperings and shit like he sold all that stuff, or he doesn't have any. He had to do it to pay bills. And then I realized, I haven't put a watch on, like all through COVID, I didn't put a watch on for probably a year. It's just not what was important to me, right? So when all the Koofus shit started, they weren't maintaining the roads. So we bought some new trucks, right? We took the Panamera to Nashville, and you literally could not avoid potholes on the interstate. So I'm like, we cannot fucking tear these cars up. We can't drive these on these conditions. And then you started having riots, and you started having them burn cities down. And I'm like, look, let's get something super comfortable, super reliable, that we can put bumpers on, and we can put sidebars, and kind of off-road armor on with the thought, like, if you had to come up on a curb and you did hit a stop sign, or you came up and, like, I pictured having to drive through like a glass building, right? If we're downtown somewhere, which we don't even go downtown, but there's a protest and some shooting happens, we could drive up on the curb, bust through this fucking glass lobby, and drive out the other side. And that's why we built the trucks the way we built them and put the stuff on them that we did. So, and then we started, I don't know really what, it was kind of the unknown, really, in the last few years. We weren't sure if this stuff was real. And then when you started seeing riots and cities burning down and stuff, if they did turn off the EBT systems and your welfare systems, those zombies are going to be roaming around, right? So we put up fencing. You could, and we see it, we still see it as the economy goes down. They said yesterday, 1 in 6 Americans hasn't paid their electricity bill. I don't know if I believe that, but maybe, whatever. All my employees' electricity bills are paid. We had the conversation, like, does this affect you guys? Do you feel this, right? So people become desperate. And when desperate people become more, like, low motivation people become desperate, like you see it with drug addicts and stuff. They have to go and do things rather than get a real job. They do all kinds of bullshit to still get their fix. With that, you know, I also like when guys are like, I can't do this. Well, an addict can always get his fix. So how can you not fucking do what you need to do? But fencing, right? So we put up gates. We put up fencing. We brought in more dogs. We put up lighting, extra lighting. We doubled all of our lighting. So everything that faced inward, we also put outward lighting. We put up 2 more camera systems that are all independent of themselves. One goes to the cloud. Some go to hard drive, some are locked on the property, but there's redundancy to everything. Gel cell battery packs. We have bank vault, battery packs, so that if the power was cut, they would still run. We brought in cellular transmitters for the alarm system, so that if you did cut our power and our internet down, we can still have cellular communication. So it's on an independent system, right? And then it just, like, making food. When we weren't really sure what this was, and you started seeing Gretchen Whitmer stop all sales of seeds and garden tools and shit, right? Because everybody's like, okay, I'm going to be home, I'm on lockdown, I'm going to grow a garden. And then you had these tyrants say, no, you can't do that. So when it really started and we were unsure, I'm like, okay, we have some chickens, but I can't produce enough eggs for all of my employees. I can't. And we thought, okay, what the big thing was, what if they cut off interstate commerce, right? What if UPS and the mail system stops running? What do I need to do to barter, trade, and sell? And food seemed like a good idea. Firewood seemed like a good idea. Skills seemed like a good idea. So we brought in a greenhouse. And we've been hearing, grand solar minimum, mini ice age, stuff like that. So when we did our greenhouse, most people in this area don't have a Gothic arch greenhouse. That's for more northern snow load and ice load. But I remembered 10 years ago, we had a big ice storm. I remembered that 10 years ago, there was an ice storm that flattened a bunch of steel buildings. Looking back at it, they were not steel buildings. They were like pole barns that they kind of just put some siding on. Anyways, it flattened them flat to the ground. So when we spec'd out the greenhouse, I'm like, okay, ice and snow load. And then the standard spacing on the beams for the greenhouse is 5 feet. I'm like, okay, let's make them 4 feet, right? So we put more poles, more metal, cross bracing. When I bought it, I have a sunshade that'll cover the whole entire thing. I bought a whole nother set of plastic because you get about 6 years out of that plastic. I've got brand new plastic in boxes rolled up out of the sun. So just redundancy, right? We were growing, we had some birds. We weren't making as many eggs as I wanted to be able to feed all of my employees. So we immediately went to Tractor Supply and bought every egg laying chick they had, and we grew them up. And then we had grown some meat birds. And then we had all these meat birds, and we're like, okay, these things, at a certain point, you get to about 10 weeks on a Cornish cross bird, and they're full, and for the amount of feed, they're not gaining any more mass, really. So you have very expensive pets that are very food oriented and they gobble up as much food as they can, and you're just feeding them to keep them alive. And it's actually much difficult to process them as they're bigger, and the quality of meat is not as good. So we started processing birds and realized quickly that we needed something more professional. So we brought in professional processing equipment to process the birds, and we set up a 3-bin sink outside so we could run 3 people in a row. One guy could kill them and cut the necks and bleed them. Another dude could run the scalder, and then we could take them from the scalder and put them in the plucker, and then from the plucker they could, you know, cut the head off, cut the feet off, cut the guts out over here, and then rinse it over here. And then we had ice baths, and we brought in, you know, coolers. You can't do a dozen birds, much less 72 birds, and take them without keeping them in ice first. You have to really lower the temperature rapidly. When you take those birds and just put them in the freezer, it superheats the freezer, and it'll actually, your meat will spoil before the freezer is able to cool them down. So like, we just learned a lot of things. We ordered a lot of things, like that poultry processing stuff. We were supposed to have it. We actually talked to the company. Hey, do you have this if I order it? When will it ship? Yes, if you order it on Thursday, Friday, it will ship Monday. We didn't get that shit for 4 months almost. Like, it didn't come. They didn't have it. Come to find out, people we were talking to was just a dealer for the other original company. And when I said that on the internet, the company like chased me around where I'd mentioned it a couple times, and was really shitty. Like, the company was really shitty. And I'm like, look, I fucking gave my interactions, right? And like, they came back a couple times like, will you remove this? And I go, no, I won't fucking remove my comment. If you bothered to read it, you would see 3 comments down that I said, hey, I did not buy it directly from this company. I bought it from this other company. So I don't know if I've answered your question. It's just, this has really, and building that content, I stay motivated because we have an event here every 3 or 4 months. So people expect to see improvement and progress. So every day when people are gone, I spend an hour to 2 hours working on tasks. And it's super easy with these phones. Well, I'm just going to sit down and check my email. I'm just going to sit down and check my notifications, right? And before you know it, hours have passed. If you literally just get up and do something, and I don't really even think it matters what you do, as long as you pick one thing and do it, you will see progress, right? I didn't want to bring all these boards in here. I didn't want to paint all these boards. I definitely didn't want to put 3 coats of paint, but I did it. And it's done now. And they're sitting over here about to be nailed up on this wall. We're going to have the first wall of the video and podcast studio done. And it's done correctly, right? In addition to that, I went out and took care of all the animals. I moved hoses and watered them where I needed to. I put a bunch more soil in old feed bags, because I tell people like, what should I grow in? Or I don't have pots, or I can't afford this or that. I'm like, you can literally grow stuff in anything. So I filled up a bunch more bags full of soil. I popped seed potatoes in them. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but we're definitely going to have content built around that. And if everybody just started building content, it doesn't matter if you have viewers. The viewers will come. And if you have some video that goes viral, your viewers are going to be looking for old videos. When I get a recommended video and I really like what his video, I go back looking for more. If he doesn't have it, I never subscribe to his shit. Your videos don't have to be good. They just have to be there. We've got 6 years worth of videos. And if you look at them, they were hour-long videos. There was no editing. There was no microphones. But we still get constant views and conversation from those. So, and I say that because it's accountability, right? Do you believe some shit is going to happen? Yes or no? Then why the fuck are you not doing something about it, right? And do you believe that this is orchestrated and there's probably more of it coming? I wholeheartedly believe that. So how do you protect yourself from that? Or more importantly, how does it not affect you, right? Just don't let it affect you. Don't participate in their reindeer games. Don't rely on them. They do not want you self-sufficient. They do not want you to not have to rely on them. The whole thing with all the cars and shit right now, right? We're going to ban all these gas cars and everything's got to be electric. Elon Musk, well, I don't know about Elon Musk, but Tesla turned off all the Teslas in Russia with a push of some buttons. You think they can't do that to you? They can do that shit to you right fucking now with a gas motor. They could turn both my Toyotas off. They know exactly when I need an oil change. That motherfucker knows where you've been, how long you were there. It knows everything about you, whether you know it knows it or not. What do you think they're going to be able to do with electric vehicles? It's just one more way to fucking control you. Could they lock the doors and just take you someplace? The police say they already can, especially with the electric vehicles. So don't be relying on them.
I was just going to say, that's why I keep my car. My car is like 11 or 12 years old. It wasn't maintained the way it should have because I bought it when I was too young to understand to do that. But it's a manual transmission. And when I bought it, I specifically wanted that for fun, but also because I can push start it if I have to. Like, if...
Oh, yeah. So I heard a conversation last night. Somebody was saying, keep a car that's like 1960s and a manual transmission.
Yeah.
Especially because manual transmission is going to be easier to work with than a automatic transmission. But I didn't even think about the push start thing. Yeah, we used to push start trucks and stuff all the time.
Exactly. And so if they really tried to shut down all your electronics, you could figure it out. You could get that car started, you know?
Yeah, you could definitely remove parts from it and make it work fucking.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, we could take off all the computer and just have what you need,
right.
You know?
So Evan Dixon asks, your interest in solar. I've been studying it and built a modest system. Can you share more about what your goals are with solar? So the real answer is, I don't fucking know. The truthful answer is, I don't have any solar here. I know I could talk to you. That's why I always like to say, after we have a conversation with people, I'm like, I need you to know that I'm just repeating some shit I've heard. I haven't actually done this, right? I always want to have that disclaimer there. I own some Blue Eddy stuff. I own 3 battery packs and the charge unit, and I have 3 solar panels to recharge that with, right? Cody has some solar panels and a system that he has fabricated together. I think it's a great idea. I think it takes 20 years to pay for itself. So guys thinking I'm going to do this so I don't have to pay electric, that's not why I would do it. I would do it so I have some electricity when the government cuts your electricity off, or somebody cuts your electricity off, or something cuts your electricity off, right? Still being able to charge some things. I like the idea of the electric bicycles. I can charge them from solar. I like the idea of the battery packs that I can put in the truck and run all of my gear for an entire weekend, and I can recharge it from solar. I would like to have a huge solar array on the building, right? I'm not going to dump $100,000 into that, especially right now. But I could dump, $5,000 here, $5,000 here, $5,000, and do it as zones, right? Plus, they're independent. If a tree fell or some debris hit half of the system, it's not all tied in. I would rather have separate systems. I'd like to have a system probably up at the rabbits. I'd like to have a system that runs some aeration in the upper pond, possibly a pump. I think it's wise to have smaller systems than one giant system. And I say that as a person who hasn't done any of those. The truth is, Evan, you've actually executed on something I haven't, and you have probably a much greater grasp of it than I do. And if I was going to put some systems in, I would probably be like, hey, why don't you come down here and help us do this? And while we're talking about Evan Dixon, he's got a company. Everybody wants to do ham radio, but everybody gets paralysis to analysis, right? You go look at the radio, you're like $35. What do I get for $300? You look at the $300 radio and you don't buy either one of them. Evan will set your radios up and set the programming. So you're like, I don't know who I need to talk to, but I got 6 guys in my crew. He'll set them up so you guys can talk to each other, monitor emergency response, and talk to some other people. He'll give you a package with better antennas. He'll give you a package with better charging. Baofeng radio is basically the 35 cheap version of the Yaesu VX6R, which is several $100s, couple $100, and way more rugged, right? So how do we take the $35 radio and make it more rugged? There's some guys making CNC aluminum and 3D printed frames so that you can't accidentally change the channel, you can't accidentally change the volume. When you put your earpiece in, there's a clamp that goes over it. He will give you a turnkey product. He will have a conversation with you, figure out kind of what you need or what you think you want, and he will give you 5 radios and all the shit that goes with them in a package, and he will set your stuff up. So every time you push the button and remove the key mic, it chirps, right? You want to turn that bullshit off. You want to have a means to put your earpiece in that's not just like the bullshit Kenwood push in, right? And they have this. You want to you're a ninja, right? You want some ear pro and some comms. They do all that, and he can do that for you and have that conversation. So we will put a link to his company where you can see that. Tom Nolan, gram for gram, what's the best protein to keep on the hoof for shit hit the fan? How much land do you have? Can you process? Do you know how to turn live animals into meat? Gram for gram, if you're starting and you're only doing one man, I would say chicken. It's going to give you an egg every day, and the chicken, when the chicken stops making as many eggs, you can kill that chicken. You can take 20 hens and one rooster and have fertile eggs, and then you can take those and hatch those out, or let the mom hatch them out and have more chickens, right? So look at chickens. You're going to keep them for a couple of years while they're putting out all their eggs. A chicken is born with what's called ovums. She has these little tiny things that become eggs, and she only has so many in her body. Different breeds have different ovums, and once those run low, she makes less eggs as she ages. So a lot of egg-laying facilities only raise up chickens, and they do their egg laying when they come online, and once they do their molt, they get rid of them. I keep mine for 2 molts. They go through, and you're going to look at those are older birds, right? So they're going to be a little tougher, probably. Think of them as chicken and dumplings, or think of them as dog food, right? If we're having animals, you should really have livestock guardian dogs and fencing. And if you have those, what are you going to feed those? The feed we were feeding our dogs just a couple years ago, when we got, well, not even a couple years ago, Magnus is barely a year and a half old, if that. So just a year and a half ago, Purina Pro Plan puppy chicken and rice, 50-pound bags. They were true 50-pound bags, and they were $47 for a bag of dog feed. That bag of dog feed right now is 47 pounds, and it's $90, right? The dogs worked great on that feed. Even the old dogs I have here were eating that puppy chow, and they're bouncing around like they're 5 years younger. So that's very expensive to feed dogs. And what happens if you can't get dog food? What happens if you can't get pelletized feed? And that's what our last year has been. How do we feed the animals from the property? So think of your old chickens as dog food. Number 2, and chickens, you can put them in an area, you can put them in a pen and just move them 5 feet or 10 feet every day, and they will super fertilize all that. They'll eat the bugs in that area, and when you move them, a month later, when you look at it, the grass over here is 10 shades green brighter than where you're going. So rabbits, same thing. I keep rabbits in cages. Rabbits are super easy. They breed right like rabbits. You put the female in the male's cage. He mounts her immediately, and then they do what's called fall off. Some will grunt, some will snort, some will fart, some will they sneeze when they fall off, but he'll hump her like a bunny and fall over, and you're like, that's a hell of a way to die. He just banged the shit out of that girl, and now he's dead. But they get up real fast. Let them do that 2 or 3 times over the next 15, 20 minutes. Put her back in her cage. 30 days, almost to the hour, she will have babies. Put a nest box in a couple days before that. You'll see her start pulling hair. She will make a nest, and she will have her babies. Every one of those babies within 8-10 weeks is ready to eat. I take them at 4 to 5 weeks and put them in what's called a tractor. It's just a cage on grass. And now they're eating grass. And now I have to feed those bunnies. I feed them half as much feed because they're eating grass. When I move them, I put seed down that is better grass. I put down a lot of clover. I put down some other things in there, a mix of about 5, 10, 15 different seeds, depending where we're putting it and what we have at the time. I put deer forage mix down. They eat that, and it's better than just eating fescue grass or eating, whatever kind of grass is down. So you get to a point where that grass always comes back, but you don't want to run over it, right? If you just had a backyard, a normal, let's say you have a 50 by 50 backyard, you're just going to run a pattern, right? So every day you're going to move this tractor, however big it is, 10 feet, whatever. It helps on the feeding. You don't have to feed them as much. It cuts your cost down. You have to look at all these animals as how much pound of feed, how much does that pound make in pound of meat? And a rabbit gets to a point at like 16 weeks maybe, where it's really not going to grow anymore. You're going to spend more to feed it than it's going to produce. So you want to kill it at that point, and that becomes meat. Rabbits and chickens are very easy to do. I think rabbits are easier to process than chickens, but the chicken gives you the egg. So did I answer your question? Now the next step from there, we're adding sheep. If you really want to build soil, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, from like a newcomer's perspective, rabbits and chickens seem to be the best because you can feed animals, the rabbits, and you'll just get more in a month. And the chickens, you can feed the chickens their eggs.
Yes.
So, like, those two things, you could constantly have them around with almost no expense or work.
We have so many chickens here
Mm-hmm.
that I have these fancy roll-out nest boxes and stuff. But the chickens inevitably you'll find a nest that they've made over here. There's like in one of my pens, they like to lay them in the corner here.
Mm-hmm.
And the other chickens walking around are shitting on them, right? So they're dirty. You could totally wash those off, crack them and eat them that day, no problem. I take the dirty ones, they never even come inside, and I crack them right into the dog bowls. So if I'm feeding any kibble, I put several eggs over there. If I'm not feeding kibble, I just crack those dirty eggs and give them to the dogs, because those dogs are the true, nothing happens up there without the dogs. Yes, you can totally, and if you have dirty eggs, or if you even have dud eggs, if you crack an egg and it just totally stinks and you're like, man, that came out of this bowl, you can take all those eggs and just toss them out there. Just break them. Throw eggs on the ground. The chickens will eat that shit up, and it's protein to them. Everything will eat chicken. Now, if you want to build soil, you need a ruminant. It needs to pass through the rumen. You need something with a hoof, and it's gonna basically they're gonna just stomp their shit into the ground. And what we're doing now is called rotational grazing or mob grazing, mobility grazing. So we're building soil, and you have to have those animals to do it to the next level. So we have a 10 by 20 sheep pen. We're getting 4 sheep from Dr. Barry on Monday. We're getting a small ram, and we're getting 3 ewes, and those ewes might be pregnant. I'm not doing it to breed sheep. I'm doing it because I want to build soil and grass. And what they're going to do, a sheep and a goat will actually, in the snow, if you have good grass and it snows, Greg Judy still doesn't supplement feed. Even when everything's covered in snow and ice, the sheep and the goat will move that stuff. A cow will just push his nose down and he can't get to the grass. So you have to feed cows, right? I don't have enough room to grow enough grass for cows, and I don't have enough room really. I can put a couple cows here, but the sheep, I'm just moving them in a pattern, a course, right? Our rotational grazing pattern. We built our swales. My tractor's 10 feet wide. We built the swales so there's 14 feet between anything. So we can always come down that corridor with those sheep. And then the sheep, we move them frequently, right? The grass will be 24 inches tall. The sheep will eat, and then we will move them. We don't ever let them chew that grass to the ground. We don't ever have to vaccinate these animals because they're not eating off the ground, and they're not getting parasites from their own feces and from the ground. So we mobilize them. So now the poop's on the ground. The flies come in on about day 3. We're going to bring chickens in a tractor right over where those sheep were. Oh, so the sheep, right? So we're going to have the sheep. We pick them up Monday, and we're going to move them. We're going to, on day 3, the sheep poop, the fly larvae start to hatch. So we bring the chickens over. They decimate and pull that poop all apart. They eat those fly larvae. They shit themselves, and they scratch that shit into the ground because they're after the seeds that are in the ground. So it basically, it's like tilling the soil, but the ruminant's already been over it. Now, just doing the chicken tractor, I have 50 birds in that tractor, and these birds are getting bigger. That's too many birds. I have them in there like that on purpose. And I'm doing this, I heard Billy Bond and William talk about, do you move it a couple times a day so that when you move it, the grass is still alive but fertilized, or do you go scorched earth? So I've been doing scorched earth. I move it once a day, and when I move it, there's just chicken shit, and it smells, and it's just a dead spot. There's nothing there. Within a week, all that grass is coming back, and within 4 weeks, that grass is 100 times greener. Like when you see it with the drone, you really see the transition of where they've been. So, and while you're dragging these animals, you're not feeding them. Like, we're not giving them hay. We're not giving them pellets. We're not giving the chickens chicken feed. We move them, and they eat all the bugs, and they eat all the stuff there. So we're building soil. So that's what's about to happen. Chicken Hawk Farmstead says, who or how did you go about building your tiny house? If you have the capability to build one of these, you can definitely build them cheaper building them yourself. You can also build them cheaper if you have a guy come in and build them on site. Cheaper. Be honest with yourself. Can you versus will you, right? Could I frame this? Yes, I could. Do I have time and will I do it? I won't do it, right? So I bought this building we're standing in. It's a 14 by 44. I bought it as a repo for $7,500. This building right now sitting on the lot as a repo at the same place I bought it from is like $12,000. And if you buy it new, it's like $14,000 now. There are a lot of differences in these buildings. When you go look at a building that's the same size, you'll see a $6,000 building. You'll see an $8,000 building. You'll see a $12,000 building. What's the difference? 24-inch studs. The studs are spaced 24, even 30, 36 inches apart. So there is no structural walls, right? The insulation, there's no insulation in almost any of them when you buy them. So whenever you go to hang up to cover that stuff, the difference is that one's like a lawnmower storage shed, and one's a building that you could actually, live in if you wanted to. You could live in any of them, but to put them together, those paying a little bit more, you get a lot more, right? So you're going to have on 18-inch center studs, which is what these are. You're going to have 2x6s for the floor underneath every 24 inches instead of every it's 24 inches instead of every 36 inches, and instead of 2x4s, right? There's just a huge difference in them. So be aware of that. If you just need it to store some shit in to keep out of the sunlight and keep the weather off, no problem. My intention with this building was to insulate it and put heat and air in it, which we have. We have a dual head mini split, 18,000 tons, and I put them over here and over here so that we can drop a wall in the middle, right? So we can heat or cool at different temperatures. Dry goods on this side, we don't need the air running. Storage food on this side, we want the air running. Pull everything out, put some bunk bed type shelving in here, pull everything out, put people here should we need to. That's not what we're doing with this building, but that's kind of how it's set up. We're putting this building, we're going to start recording in here, no interruptions, and we don't have to move the lighting around, everything's in place. So there is a difference. Best building you can buy hands down, I believe, is Durskin. They're bigger, they cost more. They're not all bigger, but they cost more. They are built better. You can get them with 2x6 studs if you want them with 2x6s instead of 2x4s. What does that mean? It means it costs more. It means it's a little stronger, but what it really means is you can put more insulation in there. What are you going to use for insulation? Spray foam is hard to get right now, and it's very expensive. We spray foam the floor of this, and then we insulate it with fiberglass insulation the walls. Spray foam, you just and it expands. But it's very hard to get right now. Insulation, anybody can get it, but it takes doing it, right? And Matt and Tim, Matt's a man and Tim's a kid. They had this whole building done, insulated in under a day. So keep that in mind, right? And then if you're going to seal this up, do you have soffits? Do you have a building with soffits, right? Are you going to have mold? Are you going to have heat differences and condensation? That's something you need to know, how that building's built. And if we're having this conversation, there are some really good shed to home and shed to cabin and small building groups on Facebook. And if you're gonna reply, I don't do Facebook. We are really fucking missing out on very fucking active, good information. By your, I won't do evil Facebook. I get it, okay? If you're asking the question though, and you're planning to do this, every answer you have is there, and you can search it very easily. Shed to House or Shed to Home is a very active group on Facebook. He also has a YouTube page, and he shows his journey on what he's done. Durskin though, so your sheds are typically going to be 12 feet wide or 14 wide. I know you can find 10s, but for a shed, a lot where you go buy them, tiny houses, Amish built, whatever, they're going to be 12 or 14 typically. If you take a 30-foot building that's 14 feet wide, when you go from 14 feet to 16 feet, right, that's 60 more square feet. Look at it, just think of it like this, right? Even if I'm good with 14 feet. If you had another 2, you could put a wall across here and have 2-foot deep closets for storage the whole distance of the building. And there's not a lot of companies that build a 16-foot wide. There's some, but Durskin does. They also make, your sheds are typically going to be about 40 feet because that's what a lot of movers can move is 40 feet. Durskin, as well as some other companies, make sheds that are 52 feet long. That's a big shed. And there's a lot, if you just look it up on YouTube, you will see some plans where they've built them out into homes. Amanda and I, you have the footage, you probably haven't seen it yet. Amanda and I were in some tiny houses last weekend that were built, they were between $100,000 and $165,000. They were all 14 feet wide and they were 40 to 44 feet long, right? Beautiful white, black trim, fireplace on the wall, all the appliances, what looked like marble countertops, though they're not. They're kind of built shitty, right? They're built like you go into an RV and it's got the new car smell and it's got all this, it's fully furnished, but when you look at it, it's got like shitty, you know, coverings. It's got shitty couches and stuff in it, and it's got like weird off-brand, off-size utility stuff in there. And that's how these are. $165,000. And they come on 5 axles. They have to be moved by a semi-truck or a mobile home mover. They're offering home mortgages, like normal ass financing on these things. And people are like, oh, this is awesome. We're going to downsize. And they have convinced society that you won't own anything. And that's your way of owning something really nice, and you're willing to have no footprint to do it, and you're not going to own you're not going to own property. That's what this is really all about. We have on this property, I have 3 of these buildings. One is fully outfitted, furnished. One's a feed shed, and then this one is in this stage here. We're adding more of these though. If the heat and air goes out, I can control and heat and cool this thing way faster and easier than a traditional style home. Do I want to live in here? I don't. I like nice shit. I like big shit. I've got a beautiful 6,000 foot living room basically. But it's doable. Look in your local areas. Look on Facebook Marketplace and look in Craigslist, and you're going to search shed, you're going to search tiny home, you're going to search outbuilding, and you're going to search cabin, and you'll see a lot of them. There's people turnkey in these things. They're doing shipping containers too. The Container Girls on Instagram have a great Instagram page, and it's all shipping containers. And yeah, you can do a shipping container, but to do it, I mean, you're not really using any of the shipping container when you see these these beautiful container homes. They literally have cut away all of the shipping container. So just be aware of that. What you think is an inexpensive way to do things, like looking at these tiny homes this last weekend, I saw tons of houses this week for sale here with 1, 2, 3 acres of property. Small houses like, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 3 bedroom, 1 bath, whatever, older style houses, but you can buy them for $60,000, right? And they've convinced people that they want this thing for $165,000. And while we were on the lot, I mean, we're in the middle of fucking nowhere. And while we were on the lot, there was probably 50 people there. Like, we didn't go into a single one of these tiny houses, and there was probably 20 of them there. We didn't go into a single one where there wasn't people in there. We had to literally wait for them to walk out and leave before I turned the camera on.
What people don't think about either is, oh, I'm going to buy land and put a tiny house down. Well, there's no utilities there.
Right, you have to have septic.
If you buy something that has a structure, it could be dilapidated, but it still has everything you need.
Right, that's a good point. These do come with like mini splits and shit on them.
But you need electricity wherever you're going.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Ryan Ray, I would like to know more about your hydroponic setup. Are there things you would do different now with all that you learned? Also, do you feel you had better production of the vegetables that were in the greenhouse or outside? We don't maintain the aquaponics system at all. It's just sheer utter neglect. I've never checked the pH and nitrite levels and stuff in that stuff. I don't even think it's nitrite. I think it's pH and ammonia levels. We've never taken care of it or maintained it. If I was doing it again from scratch, I would listen to everybody that told me paint those tubs black because they grow algae. My water is always green. We literally pulled all the water out of the system, put all fresh water in, flushed it again, and within 4 weeks it was all green water again because there's algae in the water. Now if there's algae in the water, that algae is taking up oxygen from the water also. So I would cover, but I have a lot of air stones in there that are putting air into the water. So I would paint them black. We were in a hurry. And I would frame them. I would put a frame around them to do it over again. I would just 2x4 frame it and put siding, whether it be slat fencing or something, right? Just so that they're in kind of contained. And that would cut down all of that level. We're doing a floating raft system, which is just super easy. You have these pots that go in these holes in this foam tray, and we don't even use like grow media. I don't use lychee or caliche, like clay pebbles. I don't use volcanic rock. I literally take some gravel off of my ground, put it in there, and put whatever I'm going to put in there. Now we start the seeds. Tad started, or his wife started, a ton of seeds. They did not live in the system. Very few of them did well, but we didn't maintain it either, right? I use it more for like cut and come again things. They cook here every 5 days a week. Jeremy cooks or Amanda cooks, and we'll have, like, when she does burritos, we'll have all these like little green onions, right? Well, she has the ends of them. When Jeremy cooks, we'll have ends of carrots. We'll have ends of, like, the end of butter lettuce. She'll cut it and then put it into for hamburgers. I take those ends and I put them, and they grow. And we'll go over and I'll show you some stuff that's growing and some stuff that's already dead. We grow a lot. We don't use a lot. We don't process a lot. Jeremy goes to the store, knows what his meal's going to be, gets the things to do it. Always buys packs of fresh herbs, right, that come in the refrigerator section. We don't ever utilize all that stuff. Anything that's left over goes back in the refrigerator, and then on Monday I throw it out, give it to the animals, or I take some of it and plant it in the grow system. We're really bad about using what we grow. I have tons of meat that we've grown, tons of chickens. I have a whole fucking cow in the... We don't ever take meat out of the freezer and go, okay, we're going to make this with it. It's never been frozen, and it's just simpler that way. To plan it out would be a couple of extra hours out of the week, and I won't do it. When I'm like, hey, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? Well, we don't have to do this tonight. Do you want to go eat? So we'll jump in the truck and we'll drive an hour to go eat someplace. We just don't utilize the stuff. The garden grows really well. If I put another hour of maintenance into the garden would do twice as well. Hydroponics, the system works really well. Tad came in, built the system. Cody maintains the system. We neglect the aquaponics system so greatly that we don't drain the water or turn the pump off in the winter. When I see the water starting to freeze out of the outlets, I turn the pump off. We leave the air stones running so the fish in there have air. We put a stock tank heater in the tank piece that has the fish in it. Everything else is shut off. The pipes have water in them. They swell and the weakest point breaks. And we usually only get a couple, maybe 3 weeks maximum of that. And then the water defrosts as soon as sun hits it again. And then we take the broken parts that leak and we just put a sleeve on each end and put a new piece of pipe or a new fitting or whatever. It's hodgepodge together for sure. It is faster for me to just have Cody go fix this. He'll look at it, okay, boom, 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 boom. Do we have the parts? No, we drive to the store, get the parts. Anytime we buy parts, we buy twice the parts. If I need 3 of these, we buy 6. If I need 12, we buy 24. And then we always have the parts. And in under an hour, the system's all back together and we're back running. We don't ever worry about glue in the system. We literally do anything that could possibly be wrong. We don't take care of this system at all, and it still grows stuff. Could you grow more? I don't know if I could grow more, but I know that guys run it, and we're running fish, right? We're running koi. Jack was like, yeah, you just take them and sell them to yuppies as fancy Asian carp. Totally. You can buy your carp, you can buy your koi fish right off of Amazon. We've bought fish from Amazon probably a dozen times. They show up the next day. FedEx brings them in the door. You float them for 30 minutes to an hour, let them equalize, and then I usually put a little water in the bag, let them a little beyond what they say you do, and then we put them all in wherever we're putting them. But if you are willing to use chemicals, which Epsom salt, there's like 3 powders, right? You can get them off Amazon. You can literally for $100 buy enough powder to sustain a family of 4 for 4 years maybe. and you can use crack key hydroponics at that point, which you don't have a pump, you don't have to aerate. You literally, for instance, you take a Rubbermaid tub, let's say 5-gallon bucket, and you're going to cut a hole in the bucket. If you're going to grow big plants like a tomato, you're just going to put one hole in the bucket, and you're going to put a net pot in there. You're going to put one tomato plant, and then you're going to suspend it to something, hopefully, so that it trellises up, right? You're going to just put a piece of twine or a frame or whatever. You want to do lettuce, you're probably going to do one. You're going to do cabbage, you're going to do one. You want to do herbs and stuff, you could do 4 probably in there. But what you're going to do is you're going to fill this all the way up with water. You're going to have your powder, your Kool-Aid already made. You're going to fill this up with the Kool-Aid, the hydroponics Kool-Aid, and then you're going to snap the lid on there. And what's going to happen is the plant is going to drink the water, and it's going to aspirate out, right? It's going to make air. It's going to sweat out all that liquid. So it's going to continue to drink this liquid. The liquid's going to go down. And you're going to have hair roots. And those hair roots are what breathes. If your whole entire root system of a plant, that's why if you overwater the plant dies, because the plant can't get air. It gets air from the hair roots that are out of there, and it got the tap or the main root going down drinking the nutrients. Your plant is going to run its course. You could grow tomatoes all season, and about when that tomato plant's dead and you can't do anything more with it, that's about when the water's out. Some stuff you could just cut and come again and keep putting stuff in the water, keep topping the water off, whatever. That's hydroponics versus aquaponics. Aquaponics gets its nutrients from something alive, which are you could have shrimp in there, you could have fish in there, you could have, different animals in there. We use koi. A lot of people are like, but what about the protein harvest? I got protein all over this place here. I don't eat freshwater fish, very, very rare. People are like, could you do trout? You could when it's cold, you could do trout. But you can't do trout in the warm. You could put sunfish in there. You could, a lot of people, everybody's like, what's that fish everybody says eats shit?
Like a catfish?
No, tilapia.
Oh, yeah.
Right, tilapia. You can put tilapia in there, whatever. I'm not going to eat them. I ate, for 6 months straight, I ate no protein but tilapia. I don't have to do that shit anymore. I'm not going to do it. We have plenty of fish in the pond. We're not really growing them for food. We're growing them for ecosystem. I have way easier protein to get than fish. If I wanted to do it, absolutely. We could eat these koi, we could eat these sunfish and these bluegill out here, but we just don't. So I don't know that I answered your question. I think a common theme to this, what I want you to get out of these answers, right, is I don't know as much as you think I know, and I say that because I want you to act. I don't want you to think you can't do this because I'm at such a level doing this and I've done it so long, right? I want you to realize literally the only thing keeping you from success is action. And there's 100 ways to do this. Just do one, even if it's not the best one. Joel Salatin, and I heard Billy keep saying this, right? Joel Salatin said, Billy Bond, Permapasture Farms. Joel Salatin said, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing poorly at first. You're never going to get good until you do it poorly. So just act. Just absolutely do it. I have a lot of theory. I have a lot of proof, but we didn't fine hone it, right? I'm not an expert at any one thing. I'm mediocre at all things, so that when one fails, I still have 100 more going. So just keep that in mind. Great Wolf Tactical. If I asked you at age 5 what you wanted to be when you grew up, what would 5-year-old JW say? I'm really having a hard time picturing age 5. Like, you're not in school yet at 5?
See, I have that problem too. Okay, kindergarten. Now I know because I have kids.
Okay.
She was in kindergarten at 5.
Okay, at age 5, I was probably living on Lemoore Air Base or Camp Pendleton. I know that I liked animals. I remember Mom canned a lot of things. I remember a farmer named Mr. Mon, and we would drive from Lemoore Air Base to, I don't remember where we'd go, but he had huge orchards. I remember he had a tractor he let me ride on, and we would pick apricots and we'd bring them back and they'd slice them. Dad made some frames to sun dry them. I remember Mom putting sulfur on them. I think it was to keep the flies away, but I don't remember specifically what the sulfur was for. And we put them on the roof in military housing. I remember we lived close to, that's an air base, right? We lived close to the runway area. I remember we had a big, huge yard. All the yards were connected, and I remember catching a duck, and they wouldn't let me keep the duck. I had a poster. I had a hamster. I liked animals. What I was going to do, I don't know. I remember in probably 4th, 5th grade, I had a poster of a panda hamster. It had something to do with Disney. Reward if you find a panda hamster, $10,000 or whatever, right? And it was literally a hamster that looked like a panda bear. And I looked for the panda hamster on the way to school every day because I was going to catch that panda hamster. And it was a quandary in my head as to whether I was going to take the $10,000 or keep the hamster. What I was going to do, I didn't have that, right? I didn't have that, I'm going to be this thing or I'm going to make this money. Wasn't in my head. We were poor, but I didn't really realize that we were poor. As time went on, we became poorer. When my parents were divorced, Mom worked at General Dynamics. Mom worked at 2 other part-time jobs. But as children, we didn't know that. Like, we knew she was working. We didn't really want for anything, right? We had BMX bikes. I couldn't go buy a new bike. But we didn't miss anything. So I don't know the answer to that question, really. Casey Kemp. I would love to do a series of videos talking about all the conspiracy theories that are interesting to you. I would love you to do a series of videos. Maybe bring in some people with supporting evidence and theories. I'd love to do that. That's a full-time job. I would love to do that. I have to have those people. And there's tons of people doing that.
We're going to.
We're going to do something. I just don't know what that's going to
Yeah,
look
it might
like.
not be. So we just have to get to that. We need.
And we have to have the people, right?
Yeah.
For me to do that, I have to know something about it, which means I have to research it. And if I'm going to have a dude on, he's going to be the dude in that field. So he already has a podcast. That's kind of how I see it. Mm-hmm. Second question. I missed the 8-mag stacked rig. Will you run it again, hopefully in Woodland? We did run them last night, yesterday, in multicam black, right here. And when we started this video, a couple hours ago when we started filming, there were 2 of these available in multicam black. Are we going to do them in Woodland? Somebody asked that last night too. I feel like we just ran them not too long ago in Woodland, and we ran 6 mags and 8 mags, I thought. I kept the 6 mag for myself. Yeah, there'll be more coming. I think we're out of Woodland right now, waiting on Woodland. So yeah, eventually. Modern Day Pioneer. I have heard from some of your videos that you have a pretty big knife collection. What kind of knife styles or type do you like and collect? Strider knives. Like, that's the answer, Strider knives. Everything I have, I'm not buying any knives. I've got tons of knife makers that send me knives and stuff. If you're a knife maker, totally appreciate it. Please don't send me your knife because I won't promote it. I won't carry it. I have Strider Microtech here. This is my beater knife. Yesterday, I had on one of my Strider Customs. I have a lot of knives. I have not bought any knives in the last 5 years. Any knives I've bought in the last 5 years are cheapy knives just to take EDC pictures with, because there's some cool looking knives on Amazon, and I always buy that stuff with the intention of giving it away. Why do I need a $400 knife? If you're asking the question, you don't, and Strider is no longer a $400 knife. While Strider was a $400 knife, they then were a $500 knife, and they're dropping production knives right now at $750, $800, and guys are selling them the next day for $1,200 because there is such a demand in the market for them. A $5 knife. A $5 knife is a better knife than a $500 knife is a screwdriver. And what I mean by that is, with those expensive knives, I can do a lot of shit that I shouldn't do with a knife. Like, I can cut out and adjust where I'm going to put the kick plate on a door and not bust my knife. I can pry open manhole covers and not break my knife. I can cut wire with it. I can do a ton of stuff with a knife that I shouldn't be doing with a knife. I'm a terrible maintenance guy on a knife. I prefer to have a partially serrated knife because I will never sharpen this knife. And with serrated cord, I can still cut rope and stuff with it that I shouldn't be doing with a knife. So while you can buy a $500 knife, would you be better off with a $35, $50 knife and a $2 screwdriver? And the answer is probably yes. A $4, no matter how expensive or robust your knife is, it is not as good a pry bar as a $5 pry bar. So you would be better off to carry a pry bar in addition to whatever knife. Now, I also have a lot of Microtechs. I don't care for the out the front knives. They're neat. They're artistic. They're a fucking terrible knife. If you're going to use them as a knife, they are for showing off with your friends. But when you use them even as a box opener, the gum from the tape gets on them and jams the whole system up. They have a proprietary fucking thing to take them apart, so they want you to send them in to get them cleaned, and then you're going to pay to have your knife fixed and get all the tape, gum, and shit out of it, or blood, or whatever's in there. You can buy the tool off the internet to open it up, but when they realize you've opened it up, I believe it voids the warranty. Strider knives is just a knife that you can always use. Artistically, I love Marfione, Microtech, Tony Marfione's custom stuff. I have a lot of it. Strider knives, they do something that was Starling gear, so they would take their knife blank and they would do laser artwork, custom bead, and just a package that comes with it that's just beautiful. It's next level shit, right? It's $2,000 a knife. SOE Strider knives are $2,000 knives. It's built on a $450, $500, $600 knife. It's how we present it and what we put on it. It's not for everybody, right? If you've ever been like, I don't wear a Rolex watch because they keep shitty time, and you have a Timex on and you don't have on a nice watch, it's not for you. You don't understand this, and I cannot convince you. I don't care to convince you, is what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that to modern day Pioneer. I'm saying that to anybody else. This is the conversation that I constantly have.
I was going to bring up the watch thing. So the knife that I have in my pocket right now is $30, and I have a $30 knife because if I lose it, I don't care. There's a difference between a tool and a key. My $30 knife is a perfect tool. A Strider is a key to get into places that I wouldn't, like talk to the right people.
There is a lot of that. That's absolutely.
And the same thing with the watch, with the Rolex.
There are many times when I've been at dinner and I'm wearing a fucking $35,000 Hublot, and somebody's like, "Hey, nice red Magic. Hey, nice Dwayne Wade." And you look and he's got the same thing. It's the handshake. It's the secret handshake.
Exactly.
It absolutely is.
That's what that's
Horton
for.
said, man, I wear Dickies. I wear $15 pants. I wear a t-shirt that one of my friends gave me, and I wear a really expensive watch so that and he was like half drunk when he said this, and then all of a sudden he sobers up and he's like, and I wear a really expensive watch so that other guys with really expensive watches will buy my really expensive knives. It's artistic value. It's there is a lot to the metallurgy. Dwayne, who was the other half of Strider Knives, always years before, whatever Dwayne showed up at Blade Show with the new metal, that's what they were going to implement. You're going to see it in next year. All the big knife manufacturers were going to be using this metal. And you have production, and then you have like prosumer stuff. You have like mass production. People have an idea that knives are all made by hand. And they kind of are when you start, right? It's like getting shot up to get in the rap game. You might be a rapper, but until somebody's tried to kill you, nobody knew who 50 Cent was. When you start making knives, you can't afford expensive equipment because you're not a good knife maker and your knives don't carry any value to them. So you use a chop saw and you cut away as much metal as possible. And then you take it and you put it on a grinder and you kind of make the profile of the knife, and then you sharpen the knife. Well, you sharpen it last. Then you put whatever handle you're going to put on there, and then you sharpen the knife, right? As you get better making knives, most big knife makers do not make knives. Laser, water jet, wire EDM, a machine shop turns a 4x8 sheet of metal into a bunch of knife blanks, and most knife makers, all they do is sharpen a knife, and truth be told, they don't do it. Their Mexican labor does it. They sharpen a knife, and then a dude puts a handle on the knife or slabs or whatever, and then they pop them in a sheath somebody else made, and that's how they do it, right? But they never would be able to do those $2,000, $3,000 knives had they not done and learned how to do it, right? They had to develop their name, but once they have their name, they have money, and then they don't have to be a knife maker anymore. A lot of knife makers mix Strider. I don't know if Marissa has made knives lately. But I mean, he's got a hammer forge. Like, he makes his own Damascus. He pulls it out. It's a glowing ingot, and the machine smashes this thing, and he makes it all by hand, right? You want a mixed strider custom made from hand like that, which used to, the first knives those guys sold were like $200. Those knives are 10 grand, fucking $20,000 now. I have a full Damascus straight razor, the only straight razor they ever made. Mick made it for a custom tactical knife invitational. To go to the knife invitational, you have to be invited. You want to go there, you got to be invited. You don't even know it's happening. And every maker shows up with 1 or 2 pieces, and it's all auction, right? This straight razor was 6 grand years ago, and it's all made by hand. And Mick said, I will never make another straight razor. It's on a spherical bearing, it pivots, it does all kinds of shit. Beautiful handmade Damascus that he made. Dude hit me up the other day. He's like, do you have this? Will you sell it? I'm like, I never even replied to him. Like, because I will sell it. I will say, okay, 10 grand. Mm-hmm. And then he'll be like, okay. And I'll be like, shit, I should have asked 15. Mm-hmm. I don't care to get rid of it. I got it for Amanda.
Well, that's what we were talking about, like on a very smaller scale with the patches. I noticed that a lot of my patches are worth more than what I paid for them, but I bought them from me. I don't need to sell them, So
you have to look at this 2 ways, right? What do you want your knife to do? And if you can tell me what that is, you come to me and say, I want a strider, I will facilitate that. I will tell you how to buy a strider. I will tell you, okay, watch their Instagram page. Marissa will tell you when they're going to drop them, and then you got to be ready to get on the cart. And while you're putting it on the cart and you're second guessing yourself, while it's in your cart, somebody else bought it, and now it's not available anymore. So you have to be able to run the drop, right? You got to be waiting for it to happen whenever it happens, and there's going to be 5,000 people trying to buy the 25 knives that there are, right? Or you're like, I don't have time for that bullshit. I understand. So you're not going to buy that knife at $750. You're going to buy it tomorrow for $1,500 when the dude that was willing to do what you were not willing to do put it up for sale, and now he's selling it for $15, and you're going to pay for convenience. And that's how that works. If that's not you, not a problem. You tell me, hey, I want a knife that just does knife shit. I'm going to tell you, cool. Go to Walmart, Bass Pro Shop, wherever, and look at the knives that catch your eye and put them out on the counter, touch them, feel them, open them. Which way does it mount, right? Does it mount tip down, tip up? Can you switch that if you don't like that? Are you left-handed? Do you need a knife that's got the thing on the left hand? Do you want something ambidextrous? I'm super spoiled. And then it's got this flipper right here, right? Super spoiled. I like the flipper thing. And then I want you to don't buy a knife. I want you to go home, and when you wake up in the morning, the knife that's in your head, the thing that you can't stop thinking about, I want you to go buy that. And if it's $50 or it's $200, I want you to buy that knife. And whatever price you have in your head, like, I'm willing to spend $120. If you broaden that to $200, you will not be disappointed. You will feel better about it, because when you buy the less costly thing, you're always going to want the more expensive thing. So I want you to just feel those things in your hand, and I don't care if you tell me you're getting Gerber. I'm not going to tell you, oh, that's shit, or that's the poor man's knife, right? You tell me you're going to get a Leatherman knife, you tell me you're going to get a SOG knife, you tell me you're going to buy a Spyderco knife. I want you to spend your money as a grown human being that you earned. I want you to spend your money on whatever you want, man. That's what I want you to know from this. And you tell me, hey, I want to be in that $5,000 knife club. And if you don't understand that, I can't explain it to you. But if you think you want to be there, I can facilitate that and tell you how to get into that group. And when you meet those people and you want to do higher level shit, those are the guys. Here's the thing. You hang out with a bunch of dudes that drive around in broke ass Mustangs, right? There's always something wrong with them. There's always different colors of paint on them because they're fixing this thing, right? When you tell your shitty Mustang friends that you want to buy a Ferrari, they're all going to have reasons to not buy a Ferrari. They're going to tell you that you can't do it. And it's not that you can't do it. They don't want you to do it because they're not willing to do what it takes. When you want to buy a Ferrari, you hang out with dudes that have Ferraris. And when you tell those guys that you want to buy a Ferrari, they will take you to the Ferrari dealership and introduce you to their guy. Even if they know you have no money, they will tell you what you have to do to get a Ferrari. With this down payment, this is what your monthly payments look like. Yes, you can buy a 360 for $75,000, but the F1 transmission is a fucking nightmare. They're going to tell you how to do this, right? You can do it when you have no money, but you're going to have to put a lot more money in over time. But when you tell the dude with the Ferrari that you want a Ferrari, he's going to be excited for you, and he's not going to try to talk you out of it. And that's that next level. There's another level to everything that you don't know exists. And when you climb that ladder, people pull you up and invite you, right? The second I bought a Porsche, 3 dudes. I got an email last fucking week from a guy's like, hey, we're having a Porsche event. You should come out, bring your cars, come out, have the family out. It'll be a great time. Because I belong to that club. I'm not in their club. I just am a Porsche owner, and they invite me to those things. And typically, when you get around a lot of dudes with cars like that, hey, what do you do? How did you do this? And they want to help you, man. When you get around successful people, they are not trying to fucking pull you down, and that's part of it.
It's funny that you brought up the cars, because I was just thinking about, I don't know what they're doing these days, but 10 years ago, Aston Martin had a Ford motor in it, and their transmissions blew up a lot. But it was an Aston Martin, and if you bought it new, it had your name on a plaque on the engine compartment, and everybody else who had an Aston Martin knew who you were. And
unfortunately, it's a fucking Aston Martin.
I know, like they're shitty. That's what I'm saying.
I almost bought an Aston Martin when when I went to buy the Lamborghini. They'd sold it the night before we got there, and they had an Aston Martin sitting there. Super cool sounding. Mm-hmm. It was just like ox blood red.
Yeah, I love that.
It wasn't the red I liked.
It was on the outside or the inside?
The interior.
Yeah, the
outside
interior.
was
I love
black.
a red interior.
No, it was gray. It was silver gray. And like I even drove the car, looked at it. I'm like, maybe I should just buy this also. I didn't have another driver with me. That's literally why I didn't buy it, and I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
Andy Frisella's got a DB9, loves it. They look badass on the road, but if you're going to buy that car, you can buy a much better car.
That's what I was going to say. They're cool to look at, not to own.
Yeah.
But if you do own them, then you're around other people that own them.
Yes.
You know?
You want a car in that category that you really want to drive, Porsche. You can't fucking beat it. The service and support's there. Fucking Lamborghini's a raging bull. Runs, it's fucking abrupt, it's harsh. Ferrari is a dancing, prancing pony. You have to really care for it. It's finicky. And what they'll try to tell you at a European, pre-owned car lot, well, you can get the Ferrari motor in the I drove one of those too. I can't remember what they make the Gimbly. The Maserati.
Maserati, yeah.
You can get this. It's a Ferrari F1 motor. Awesome. It's still a fucking. It's not the same thing, right? But enough of that. Fortress K9. I know it isn't your specialty, but I'd love. Fortress K9 asked me, but I know it isn't your specialty, but I love to get outside ideas to build upon. If you envisioned using trained dogs to defend your compound, how would you incorporate them into your defense, small, medium, and large threats? Okay, so I saw this comment, and my answer to this comment is I would ask for K9 Fortress Defense. I didn't realize that you actually asked the question. Shit, bro, I don't have a fucking clue, man. I would default to you. The conversations I've had about that were with you. I mean, you talked about running multiple dog teams. You know the animals that I currently have. That would be a complete different set of animals. Would my livestock dogs fight with my guard dogs? The answer right now, yes, they would. Do we build corridors, right? I have my property set up in circles, basically. I have an inner compound that is completely fenced, which those dogs would work, for human beings there. And then I have the outside circle that's livestock guardian dogs that are with other animals. And then there's yet a third corridor where a set of dogs could go all the way around there. The interaction of the animals would be the issue, right? For me, you will know the answer to that. So you are the dude that I would ask those questions of. I really don't have knowledge on that. What I know and what I verbalize is really me repeating the things that you've told me. However, and with that said, anybody coming out to Self-Reliance Festival, Fortress K9 Defense will be here with multiple dogs working in teams, and his dogs are fucking amazingly capable. Until you actually see these animals work, you don't really know what the capability is. Jay Davenport. John, if you were starting your homestead today, what would you do differently? How would you prioritize things knowing what you know now? That kind of is the same question we already answered. That was and I don't know. Like, I don't ever come in here and go, man, I wish I'd have done this instead. Anything jump out to you?
No, like, what would you do differently? I mean,
My biggest frustration today, and this is to set the tone, right? It's mindset. My biggest frustration today is that I keep deodorant in several bathrooms, and I take a shower when I come in filthy, dirty, and stinky. I take all my dirty, stinky clothes off in the back garage bathroom, and I wash up and clean off so that all that bacteria doesn't go into my new shoes or anything else, right? My deodorant, I keep a deodorant in there. It fell off the counter. You know when a deodorant falls off the counter and it's like you pushed on the bottom so all of it comes out the top and there's too much? That's the biggest frustration in my life. That literally, as stupid as that sounds, that's as frustrated as I'm going to be the entire weekend. We're on Friday right now.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to bother me. Now, if and I say that because it's just mindset, right? What do I, and we were talking about it earlier, right? What frustrations do I have? What would I do different? And Austin was like, you know, when you're saying you have to keep moving and raising these wheels to drag this chicken tractor and the chickens get out. Well, I only had to do that a couple weeks because the chickens were tiny. The videos you're seeing right now is footage from probably 4 months ago almost, right? These birds were tiny, so they're able to get out. And I'm like, that doesn't happen anymore. The birds can't get out. I said, but it actually was a frustration because I'm moving them through taller grass, and I hate having grass touch my calves and my ankles because you always itch, right? You kind of itch. And when you itch, you're like, oh, there's probably a bug on me. Do you know why you itch? Because there's a fucking bug on you. There's a parasite. There's something there, right? And it just bothers you, whether it's even real or not. So how do you fix that? Well, you could simply mow the grass. But if I'm going to mow the grass isn't going to be tall to feed the sheep, right? I love beautiful manicured grass. I love driving by a country club or a golf course. Nothing can eat that shit, though. You need the bigger, taller grass. You have to let that shit grow so there's a crop for the animals to eat. So how do I fix that, right? So I just leave those wheels up so I don't have to go there. I just get behind it and I lift it up and move it. And I said, that really was, for a few weeks, every time I do it, I'm like, man, this grass is going to touch my ankles. I'm going to have to go in there and take a shower, and I don't have time to take a shower. So it only lasted a couple of weeks. And I said, as crazy as it looked, right, that we're having this conversation and it's in your head, and it bothered me enough to vocalize it on camera, it only took 30 seconds to do. Like, it literally, it's on a cam, right? It's a lever. So you push it down, it raises the coop up, and there's a chain here, and you put the chain on this hook. It literally, and then I walk to the other side and I do that side. It only took 30 seconds. The things that come to my mind are always the easiest to fix. I don't have any major mistakes here, luckily. Every time I walk out back, so we put fencing in on the property at the beginning of Kufis, right? It was $46,000. We already had fencing here that kept animals in. All this pretty horse fencing and shit out here, it's about this high. My dogs are this high, right? The only thing keeping my dogs in is that they don't know they can get out, luckily. So we put in chain link, and I put black vinyl chain link at the front, and that sally port, that includes a sally port. There's a gate that people come here, they don't realize is there. It's in a 5x5 cubic foot of concrete. It comes out like you're not running through that bitch with a dump truck. So that comes into another post that's buried in concrete so we can lock it off. 46 grand, black vinyl, and back here we didn't run black vinyl because you don't see it as you come in the property, right? What they don't tell you, and what I didn't know to ask, when the sun hits that raw chain link fence, you can't see through it. And when it's dark and the lighting, we have big, like, I guess they're like the same lights they use as street lights, right? The electric company puts these lights up for us. When that light hits that fencing in the dark, and you've got another 5 acres behind there out in the dark when Bigfoot's running around, all you see is the fence. You can't see through it. I hate that fence. I absolutely hate that fucking fence. I hate it so much so that I'm going to take down probably $6,000 worth of fencing right there on that run right there and replace it with the horse fencing that's up front, that's this high, that I can see through, and it's appealing to the eye. That's really, I don't have like a major thing. Anything anything that frustrates me, it's all stupid little things, and I procrastinate and I put them off and I put them off and I put them off because it only takes 30 seconds each time. As soon as I remove it, I'm like, man, I'm so glad I removed that. It's like putting the who was that?
I think that's Cody.
Taken off to.
Yeah, because it's coming from that way.
So like putting Rubbermaid trash cans out there, right? I have chickens over here, and 50 feet away I have chickens over here. So I was putting a Rubbermaid trash can. So I'd have to get a pitcher of feed, pitcher of scratch, put it over here, come back, put it over here. And every time I'd have to do that, it's like one more minute. So I bought more Rubbermaid trash cans. And there was a time there where they were very hard to find. So these Rubbermaid, I use brute force Rubbermaid trash cans. I show them in videos all the time. I talk about them. I don't get a fucking dime from Rubbermaid. But these things are so good that I'm telling you about them right now. So I put these, I get the 35 gallons. They make a 50 gallon or a little bigger one. And then they make a big one on wheels. And these wheels are beefy. You can roll them on gravel and shit. They're great product. I can put 2 50-pound bags of feed in these things. And I can put a lid on there. And I can put a 1 gallon Rubbermaid container pitcher scoop. I don't give a shit that it's Rubbermaid. These are the best ones. That's why I'm telling you this. They come from Walmart. They were $3. They are now $10 for a product that's not even as good as the $3 one was. They've changed the design on the handle.
That's the pitcher, right?
Yeah, the pitcher. Mm-hmm. Yep. Throw the lid away. You're never going to use it. You're not worried about fucking keeping ice cubes in your pitcher of Kool-Aid. Mm-hmm. So I bought more of these, and I keep them where all of the different coops are. You see them in every video. One of the best things I ever did, man. You can keep tools, like if you've got some cutters or you've got something that you constantly use out there. I use scissors all over the place. Better than any, like I use scissors to clip the garden. I've got all kinds of Corona trimmers and expensive $100 shears and stuff. Man, the same scissors we use in the shop that I buy at Walmart for, I think they're 11 bucks a pair. I just keep those in those trash cans. So if I ever need to clip a bird's wings, if I need to cut something out of the dog's hair, if I need to do anything, cut 550 cord, cut tubular webbing, I just have scissors there in that feed bin. Nobody's gonna fuck with them. They're completely waterproof. We've had wind come through here so much it blew some of them down, 20 feet away. The lids are still on. They're very, very positive locking lids. Can't say enough good about them. I've never had anything chew through them. Squirrels definitely could. I have fences and I have dogs, so I don't have squirrels. I have squirrels all over the place, but the squirrels don't get my figs. They don't get any of my fruit because the dogs chase the squirrels away, and that's because we have fences that will contain the dogs. I wish I had something for this guy. Who was that? Dave Davenport. I wish I had something more to give. There's got to be. I'm sure when we turn this camera off, I'm going to remember.
The other thing I was just thinking of, if you're starting anything, you're going to need more than what you think.
You are.
No matter what it is, whatever the supply is, whatever the room is, whatever, just get more than what you think you need, and you'll use it and need even more.
Everybody thinks they want a farm. If you have a farm, you can't leave the farm, right? Somebody has to take care of the farm. Nicole has people that live on her property that take care of the farm. I have people that live on this property, so when I leave, I can be like, hey, do take care of these things for me, right? You have to have people, and it really helps things. When you think you can't afford something and you're like, I'll just dig this pond by hand, you're not being honest with yourself. If you have a job, what do you get paid per hour? When you're going to do a task manually with shovels, what could you do instead of that? My answer is I could build some bags or whatever, auction them off tonight for $1,000, and then rent a tractor, which would cost $500 to rent, instead of digging all weekend long and beating myself up. I think you need to know how to do it. I think you need to have the tools. You need to have the capability. You need to know how to fix the shovel when it breaks, how to maintain it, how to make a new handle for it. Things we don't think about that you'll never think about until you do it. But people are fast to say, oh, I can't afford to rent a tractor, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. You hit one rock, you're done. Like, we had a broken water line, and I started digging, and my boy was out here. Nick's like, hey, we'll just dig this. I'm like, you won't dig it, man. It physically won't it's 30 inches down. Mm-hmm. We're going to freeze tonight. There's no fucking way we're digging this. Call the track company. They bring an excavator. 30 minutes later, we got this thing uncovered. It was a broken pipe. It was leaking water. It froze. So now we have to fucking melt the ice. As soon as the sun comes out, melts the ice. Now we need a pump to move. But we never could have done it by hand.
Mm-hmm.
Could we have? Yeah. But I mean, we uncovered some rocks out of there with the excavator that, I mean, we'd have been there for days digging the hole. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a big thing. Realize while you think you can do something, take small bites, right? Just start. When you walk into a place and it's an absolute wreck, I tell the kids and I tell employees, I'm like, whatever you do today, make a visible difference. They're like, what do you mean? I go, well, don't fucking pick this up over here and pick this up over here and pick this up over here. Literally take something, a stick, and scrape out an 8x8 area and make that spot perfect, right? So when you come out, you have viewable evidence of some kind of success. When the dude paying you comes out, you have visible evidence of some kind of success. If you come along and pull weeds here and pull weeds here and pull weeds here, and I'm paying you and I walk out and I'm like, the fuck did this guy do today? Whereas if you'd have just made 8x8 feet perfect, and the next hour moved over 8x8, 8x8, I'm gonna walk out there and you're gonna have 40 feet of clear difference. This is what I did for you. This is what you paid me for. Would you like me to duplicate this tomorrow here, right? So that's the big thing, man. Just take bites and make them good, and then do another bite, another bite, another bite. I know that's not what you were asking, but maybe somebody gets something out of that. Have it being that we just literally had this conversation with a dude this morning.
There's a saying that I've heard for years. It's, how do you eat a Buick? One spoonful
Elephant.
at a time.
How do you eat
an elephant? Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just start. And another thing is about don't kid yourself. You're not going to do it with a shovel. When I was a teenager, I had some older guys like teaching me how to drink. And one of the things they said is, if you can't afford to tip the bartender, you can't afford to go to the bar. And that's the same
very
thing.
True. Very true.
If you can't afford to get the tool that you actually need to do it, you're just gonna make a mess and it's not gonna work out.
Very true. Mm-hmm. I was driving fence posts, the T-post thing.
Oh,
I was off camber. It struck my head. I had to get 16 staples in my scalp.
Mm-hmm.
I could have rented a driver and had the job done that day, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just I'm in a hurry, right? Last night, I wanted to put this wall up. I wanted you to come in here and me have this wall done. I wanted you to be like, holy shit, how you did this already?
Yeah, I didn't,
right?
Impressive.
So I back the truck up and I'm starting to put the wood in, and it might rain. So I'm like, okay, hold on, let me gather the tools. So I go, and my air stapler is upstairs for some reason because I left it there a year ago. I got my pancake compressor. I can't find any fucking staples for the air stapler. None. It's an air nailer, Boss Stitch. So I'm like, okay, I did the pallet wall. So I walk around upstairs, come back down, go back upstairs, come back down. And then I start looking around in the electrical room. Well, Matt and Tim had put those nails with the big nails for the actual air nailer in the back. So I grab those, I bring them out. They're not the right ones. By the time I've spent 2 hours looking for shit. So luckily those weren't loaded in the truck. So because we did get drizzle last night, so all that shit got brought in here today. And what happens? We go to nail them. I'm like, this is going to take about an hour. I'm going to nail all this shit up. I got 2 electrical outlets. Yeah. I can't nail them up because I have to take the electrical outlets out of the boxes. I have to undo the boxes. I have to move them forward an inch. Could I have done the job? Yes. Would those electrical outlet covers ever go on? No, they never would fucking fit, right? You know, it's just like, do the job right.
Yeah, exactly.
Do the job right. And and for you, right might not be perfect, right? Everything doesn't have to be perfect. Like it just has to hold animals to start with, right? It doesn't have to be a beautiful 4-panel horse fence that's painted black or painted white to your preference. It just has to contain animals right now. So, I don't know. We could go on for hours about that. Question for Austin. What excites you about video editing?
Oh, okay. So I saw that. My first instinct was nothing. Nobody likes
video editing. That's what I thought. Yeah. Nobody likes video editing.
But really, it's because I told Trish this when we were talking a few weeks ago. When you're a storyteller, or when you're making a video, if you're making a movie or a video or whatever, 3 people get to tell a story: the director, the writer, and the editor. And even a YouTube video, if you're just capturing stuff, you're directing the camera, so you're the director, and if you're doing something, then you're the writer also. and then the third person that gets to tell the story is the editor. So if you can do all of those things, you can get your story made exactly the way you want. And what's cool about it is, since you're doing the vlogs and since you're recording the vlogs, I get to go through and make it into a story because I'm doing the final editing of it, which is the final person that gets to make their story, you know.
And they can make you look like, they can tell the story completely different than what it is. Ours are not. Our stories are exactly what you saw, maybe slight less sequence. The sequence might be a little bit different to make the video work, but the actors don't get a say in anything they do, and they can take people, look at the reality TV shit, right? They can take sentences and mix them together and make it look like he said something completely that he didn't say. We don't do that, but
the closest thing to, like, with the vlogs is I can set the mood by how I
absolutely
cut the clips
and
and
the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I was actually just working on when you were sick, and like, if you just watch the raw footage, you're kind of moving slow and you're talking like with a scratch in your voice,
Yeah.
and it's like a slower day. But I cut it really fast and I put higher speed music to it.
Yeah.
Nobody will ever know that you were sick.
It's important. Like, it's really hard for me to work with people. There's very few people I can work closely with, and it's even harder to trust somebody. And I trust Austin, so like, I will have a conversation that I definitely can't have on video, but I don't have to cut it off, right? I don't have to worry about it. Or like, I was sick and I was out there hacking my brain off and snot and shit, and I know that Austin, or if I fart really loud, I know that Austin's not going to put that in the fucking video, right? I don't have to worry about it. Whereas a lot of times when you have guys doing videos, I've had real good video guys, right? But in the past, you'd have dudes show up like, I'll do your video, and you'd watch the video and there'd be all kinds of shit that shouldn't be there, and you know they didn't edit it. They just like kind of put some clips together. Yeah. Brian Fraser, John, have you seen prices on pre-def and computer diesel equipment? Question mark. Mechanical injection and hydros are insanely high right now. Yeah, I think people don't want to deal with bullshit, right? There's a def shortage, or we're told there is. I don't know, because I don't fucking own anything that takes def, but I keep hearing these horror stories. Now, I assume it's a little better because it's not all over the place. But however, right, in California, headline news every few days was that somebody dropped a cinder block off a freeway overpass and killed somebody. And I remember, I had a ton of friends that were cops, and I said, so did you catch those guys? They're like, no, we don't ever catch those guys. I go, what do you mean? He goes, it happens all the time. I go, still? He goes, yeah. I go, how come we don't see it? He goes, because it happens so frequently, nobody cares to watch it anymore, so they stopped reporting it. So is that the situation with the def? Is the def still missing? I saw diesel yesterday was over $5 a gallon. It's a lot of money. We bought diesels because diesel was always down. That's by design. They can control and manipulate that fuel price. So why would they raise the price of diesel? They raise the price of diesel because you as the consumer, it costs more, and those diesel truck drivers will stop taking those loads, and it's going to make constrictions and restrictions for you, the individual, right? I don't own anything that takes def. I thought I was going to get a VSL or SVL 95 skid steer, and I didn't, because the 75 is 75 horsepower, and what that means is it's 74 horsepower. Anything under 75 by restrictions and regulations does not have to take def. So I don't have anything here that takes def. I've got 2 diesel trucks. I got an Excursion and a 5.9 farm truck, a mega cab with a work bed on it, and I have 2 diesel tractors. Nothing here takes def. People don't want to fuck around with the government and their bullshit and whatever stupid shit's going to be passed next. That's just more ways to control you. Why are we banning gasoline vehicles? The truth? Probably because the electric ones are easier to control. You, me, dudes like us, people who farm, right? You want to hear the truth about what's going on in the world? Talk to a farmer, right? Everybody's like, man, you get up at 4:30 in the morning. So does every fucking farmer in the world. So that's who's buying that equipment up. Guys that are free-minded, guys that are like-minded, or guys that just run businesses. If you run a business, if you pay taxes, you are aware of things that people that don't pay taxes are not aware of. And we are just tired of the bullshit. So we can also work on that shit better, right? I saw our cable guy at dinner the other night. We talked for a few minutes, and he told me that both bucket trucks that we have in town they've been waiting on parts for 6 months. They don't have any parts for their bucket trucks. I go, how the fuck are you doing all the cable and stuff? He's like, we're climbing ladders. We have been. And I'm like, holy shit, man. We can get parts for older things easier. We can make things work that you couldn't make. Why did I always want a Chevy 350 motor? Because you used to be able to buy a Chevy crate motor from Kmart. You could literally buy a crate motor anywhere for that thing.
I don't know if they have them out here or even if they still exist, but Kragen. Do you remember Kragen?
Yeah, Kragen and Pep Boys
like
and
five
sitting on the stand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Every time you walked into any one of those places,
now,
there they were.
Nowadays, I say 5.7 and guys are like LS2, LS3, LS1, right? Awesome. Show me one of those that runs on mechanical, right? I believe, and I could be wrong, I'm not a motor guy. I'm a, hey, I want the most reliable shit, but I want a little bit of fucking grunt and horsepower also. How much do I have to pay you to make that happen, right? That's what I want. I don't have a tune on my truck. I want extreme reliability. I have a tow tune on one of my trucks. The other one has no tune. It's a 6.0. Everybody's like, you got to do this, and you got to bulletproof it, and you got to put $30,000. I get it, but my truck is pretty stock, and it has had zero issues, right? Nothing, because there's not a tune on it. So, no, I haven't noticed because I'm not trying to buy them. I do know everything is elevated in price. I've had the conversation a few times in my head about selling my John Deere tractor. A guy I know hit me up about some of my like crotch rockets, and he was on live feed last night. And I'm like, look, I don't have any motorcycles I'm selling, and if I did, I promise you, you're asking me because you know me and you think there's a deal, right? You know I'm not riding them, so I'd be willing to sell them. It's a seller's market right now. If I was going to sell these things, I would ask way more than I thought I could get and then creep them down. Everything right now. I was willing to sell that Suburban. I got a square body Suburban, 1990. Everything's redone in it. Every fucking thing is redone. It brand new motor, brand new everything's new. I was willing to sell that thing for $6,500 a few years ago. If I was going to list it right now, I'd list it at $20,000. No bullshit.
Probably like do more and see what happens.
Yeah. Like I'm just not, and I'm aware of it. I'm lucky that it has not affected me though. John, where do you get your information and news? On your videos, you always talk about current events, history events with inside information. I'm trying to come out of the matrix and need reliable news information sources, or are you just well connected? Okay, there's several answers to that. Let's answer these one at a time. Okay, John, where do you get your news? I typically listen to Tim Pool, but his 20-minute video is him saying the exact same 5 minutes worth of shit different, right? I see what's going on, and then let me also put this in here for you. Do you need to know? Are you better off knowing, or are you better off not knowing, right? If there was a person that was just running their business, making their money, putting their money back into their business, spending time with their families, growing a garden, had some animals, and were starting to set up and be more self-sufficient, right? Would it matter if you knew the world was on fire, if your world wasn't on fire, right? How close is it going to get there to you? Is it coming? Somebody will tell you, right? I can go to bed and leave my phone on the charger, get up in the morning and go halfway through the day and forget that I hadn't touched my phone. I had to go look for my phone. I couldn't figure out where I set it down this morning. I never pulled it off the charger. I'm trying to do that more and more, right? If there's an emergency, somebody will tell me or I will be involved in it, right? Nobody's going to be like, oh my God, you don't have your phone. What if there's a tornado? I will know there's a fucking tornado, right? So are you better off knowing or not knowing? Because it's very, very addictive, right? When you start looking at it. So I have a lot of people that send me stuff through the day. It's video links, so a lot of it comes from there. I have a lot of guys that do this kind of stuff like it is their job, so I can shoot it to them and they'll be like, no, that's bullshit. It's not true. Even as crazy as it sounds, that one's not true, right? And I trust those guys. Their information's always been right. And then I get dudes that message me shit and I'm like, sounds like complete horseshit. And then they're like, well, it's not horseshit. Okay, but how does that affect me? Actionable. How is it actionable? Does it affect you, and can you benefit from knowing this? So that's very important when we're having these conversations. I love to do the conspiracy theory shit. I love to talk about how the government's coming to get you and it's going to fuck you up. I'm 50 years old. every year there's been something that is going to kill me, right? I kind of became a prepper after Rambo and Red Dawn, and then I found Nostradamus because of the Discovery Channel, and everything's going to kill you in the quatrains, and then Y2K and nothing happened. Somebody sent me a thing about Gordon Michael Scallion, right? The Ring of Fire. He says that the world's about to, it's going to be cataclysmic and the volcanoes are all going off. While I don't disagree with that in the scale of the Earth, right? The scale of the world or existence, I was listening to Art Bell, who's been dead for 20 years now, at least. And Gordon Michael Scallion was on saying the exact same fucking things, right? The exact same things. And if that happened, is it actionable, right? Where are you going to go? New Zealand? You're not welcome in New Zealand because that's where all the fucking rich dudes went, right? And they're probably causing all this shit. So, historical events, inside information. So, I don't have inside information, right? I think that a lot of guys that are like, my sources, your sources are a goober on the fucking internet that fucking just told you some shit that he read 5 other goobers talking about, right? They're not real fucking dudes. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're not right. Use your gut. Your fucking first instinct is almost always right. But I really, 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 for a person that's like, I'm waking up, I'll always ask yourself, right? Because it's addictive, right? When you start listening to Tim Pool, or you listen to, what's his fucking name? Ben Shapiro, right? Ben Shapiro, Tim Pool, any of those dudes. Can you do anything about what they're telling you? And is it actionable, right? Can it make you better by knowing this? And a lot of times the answer is no. Most of the times probably the answer is no. I watch that so that I have topics to talk about on the live feed. Are we better off every night at 9 o'clock talking about all the shit that's going on crazy around the world? Because I can't look out my door and see it. It's not here. We didn't have no motherfuckers burning shit down. We didn't have any people dying. We didn't have people walking around like zombies. We didn't have nobody coming in to steal shit. We took care of it. We believed it at first. And we did actionable things to prevent it. If this happens, then we will do this. If this, then that. But it's not here. It's still not here years later. They still tell you it's coming. And let's believe that they are insidious and they are going to do things that will harm us. What would be in your benefit? Having some fresh water, having means to defend yourself, having a couple alternatives for shelter and heating, stuff like that, growing a garden. You will be amazed at how empowered you are by growing a garden. Just producing some of your food, just any of your food, just eating something you grew, it will ignite something in you. Something will start to happen.
I was talking about that with Annie the other day. We drove past the co-op and they had water tanks. And in California, you're not allowed to collect your own water. And so I was telling her, we need to get something like that. And she was like, why? We won't drink that. And I will, but she won't because she'll be scared of it, like of it being dirty or whatever.
Well, here's the thing, right? She won't drink that. When would you be drinking that? When the faucet no longer runs.
Exactly.
She'll fucking drink it.
Exactly. So I was saying, first of all, we can fill this with hose water and it's chlorinated. But the big thing is if we need this for something, that means we don't have any services anywhere else. And let's say you have drinking water. Let's say you've been bottling water forever. You're going to use that bottled water to flush your toilet? Yeah. Or would you rather just have that rainwater?
Yeah. 7 gallons is what you need per person per day for drinking, bathing, and flushing of a toilet or whatever, right? So you can put a brick in your normal old toilet, make it take less water, but you still need some water. And I said that literally. I said that yesterday to somebody on one of the live feeds, or on a live feed we did Wednesday maybe. I'm like, allowed versus able, right? Okay, in Colorado you're not allowed to store water. Well, you have a downspout coming down, right? Going somewhere. Let's cut a hole in the back and bring that one in with a 90 degree or a 45 degree, and let's put that water. While it looks like there's a downspout, that's actually from halfway down, it's dead. The water diverts into the garage through the hole you drilled in with the hole saw through the wall, and it fills an IBC tote. That's where it goes. And then from the IBC tote, we have an overfill that kind of does the same thing and goes back into the dead half of the pipe. So when the IBC tote is full, and it's always full, when it rains, it overflows, and it looks like water comes. Nobody's going to check that. Nobody's going to know if you don't tell on yourself. And it's allowed versus able. It's legal for a fine. You pay the fee, they go away. That's usually how that is. Vince Vega, comm gear. You have mentioned in the past, like the Yaesu VX6R. Can you show some of your radio setups and what you like using? Okay, here's another one of those things. Reality versus what you conceive. I have a bunch of that shit. Ranger Dave put them all on frequencies. I do not have a ham license, therefore I cannot transmit and use a ham radio legally enough to be proficient at it. I can turn them on and use them as walkie-talkies. I have never pinged and used a repeater. My friend Dakota, Great Wolf Tactical, is really good with this shit. Like he hosted and mentored like 30 people, got their licenses right before one of our parties here in the building. Something I need to do. I have it. I don't actually utilize it. I have a lot of different gear. I've been watching videos for the last 2 months on radio gear. I'm super glad that Evan Dixon has started a company. Now I've got more people around me that are doing this. And really, I'm so rural, I could key up and just talk and use them, and we do sometimes. And when the old dude rolls up here to bust us for it, chances are that dude, his whole entire life is radios. I'm gonna realize that there's some dude that lives 2 miles from here that's a gomer. That's what they call the old like radio experts, right? They're dying. They're a dying breed. We used to drive through here and you'd see little buildings like this and outbuildings and sheds with huge antennas, and the antennas are gone. When the antennas are gone, that means he died. That guy's gone. There's no longer a radio rig there, and they sold that fucking house. And those radio antennas are disappearing faster and faster and faster. But chances are, the guy that comes to bust me, DXs me, right, finds my position, he's going to be like, hey, why don't you get your license? So with that said, to get your license, online, free online ham study guide. Type those words in to your search engine, and you're going to find 5, 6, 10 of these things. Pick one that you like, and it's going to be, I think it's a 30, let's say it's a 30 question test. You're going to take the test, and there's going to be 4 answers. It's 3 or 4 answers. You're going to pick the answer that makes the most sense to you, and it's going to tell you, no, motherfucker, you're wrong. Here's the right answer. You're going to know what the right answer is now. I think there's 3 pools of tests. Each one has like 20 questions, 30 questions. Every time you take this test, it's going to roll through, and at the end of the test, it's going to be like, you're fucking ready to go. Go take this test. You're going to pass. You're a dipshit. You should study some more. You're never going to pass this test, whatever. If you do this every night before you go to bed, it will literally take you 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You're going to do this every night. If you do this for 30 days, you will know every question. You will know every answer to every question on that test, even if you don't know the theory. You don't know Ohm's law. You don't know. It's all there. Now you can transmit on 2 meter, 440, and 6 centimeter, right? Tri-band, which is what a VX6R happens to be, which is what most of your Yaesus, I think they're 2 meter, 440. They don't have 6 in them. The VX6R is the super duper ruggedized version of that Baofeng radio, right? The Baofeng radio is, I don't even know how to compare it, right? It does everything that does, but it's not ruggedized. You don't want to put it underwater. You definitely can't run over it with your truck. The VX6R, you can get them as aviation radios also. They're super rugged. You can get different mods. You can do the Mars mod, which basically removes a diode or a resistor or something. So now you can actually talk to military air assets and different things. Don't do it. Do the mod, but you don't want to get caught with that, right? You don't want to get caught using it. You can have it until there's an emergency. But I think I'm explaining that pretty close to how it is. But when you buy these radios, ham and radio outlet, for instance, you buy the VX6R, it'll say, do you want the Mars mod? They'll have their tech go in, do this modification to your radio for an extra 40, 50 bucks and send you the radio already done instead of you busting the back of the radio and doing the shit yourself. So I don't know that I answered your question here. Radio setup, what do you like using? So I've got a bunch of VX6Rs because they are the gold standard, right? Everybody has Baofengs. You watch any of these guys that are like really tactical radio dudes that are shooting, moving, communicating, They call themselves LARPers, right? Some of them are service guys, some of them prior service guys. But they'll tell you, right? Buy 12 of these radios. They're $30. They literally have a package deal where you buy 10 of these things, right? For $350 or whatever. Buy these radios, and he's like, one will fail, another one will transmit, but you'll never hear it receive. Like, they're not rugged. You can use them. Think of them, they're definitely very useful. But for $200, you can get a fully ruggedized, submersible VX6R, right? And then they have the 7R and the 8R. They've stopped making those. They just make the 6R now. There's not like a mid-range radio, right? So you had Yaesu VX6R was kind of the entry-level handy-talkie. There was some stuff that was cheaper that other, like Elanco maybe made. Kenwood, ICOM, Yaesu, that's your three big brands, right? Those are the Ford, Chevy, and Dodge, you know? And then you have Baofeng came out with a radio. Instead of $200, it was $35, right? So I'll bet the company of Baofeng, I bet all said profit-wise and sales altogether, net and gross, I'll bet they outsold everything Yaesu's done in the last 3 years in fucking 1 year, selling $35 radios. And then, but there's no middle, right? They came out, you have $35, $200, because $200 was the entry level, and then China came out with these other things, right? These Baofengs, and now they got Baofengs that are even better. They've got extended batteries. They've got some that do texting, other channels and stuff in them. But they all, the better, higher dollar Baofengs, which are still cheaper than the other VX6R, do stupid shit, right? Like, they don't take the same earpieces. There's just problems with them. You have to take the battery off to do this other. Like, I've watched a lot of videos on this shit. So, and then when you go from, so you're transmitting at 4.5 watts, right? So you don't want to key up and have that next to your head. So you got 50-watt radios, which are, you know, smaller packable radios that you would basically, like a real small CB size, and you put those in your vehicle. A lot of them you put the head here, and then it's got a removable faceplate, and a lot of them Bluetooth now. I got an 817D. Actually, I have two of them. And that's a fucking it's only a 5 watt. It's a micro, it's a super light QRP rig is what they call them. But with the right antenna, they're HF. They're all band. I think it's multi-band. It's all band, right? It does 2 meter, 446 centimeter, and HF. So now you can talk all the way around the world with HF, given the right propagation, elevation, and more importantly, antenna. So this is a very small radio. I could literally carry it right here in my chest rig. It takes inboard batteries, and then it also has a battery pack, so I could battery pack it to my pack, keep that back there, keep the hand, and it's only 5 watts. And then you go to 50-watt radios, and then they have big, huge, you know, desk mount radios, so you go up from there. But start, the entry level, what are you most likely to use, right? What are you most likely to use? And if you have it with you, what armor should I have? The shit you're going to have on when you're getting shot. What are you most likely going to get shot with, right? That's the armor you need. So, and that's how radios are. That little VX6R, you can carry it around, you can use it, and learn how to use it, more importantly. Or Baofeng. Or Baofeng. Buy a couple Baofengs and play with them when you're fucking kids. Somebody, and the big thing in all of our communities, no matter what community you're in, when somebody posts something up, hey, I want to do this thing, you will always have the negative Nancy show up to tell you why you can't do the thing. Always. Oh, you can't store rainwater in California. What do you care? What do you care that I'm willing to do something you're not willing to do? What do you fucking care? You almost have to wonder who these people are. And then when you click their names, there's no evidence that they're doing fucking anything in the field of what they're telling you you can't do. So, allowed versus able. Allowed versus able. What recommendations would you have for channels or podcasts that talk about utilizing internet monetization affiliate links for products used? Would like to incorporate a way for passive income from what I do in the future. Aurora Rings, I wish I had one. I wish I had something to give you. I wish I had something I subscribe to that every day somebody did a piece of content that I could implement. It's not fucking there. We're talking about doing it ourselves. We're talking about putting together a seminar or a festival, something for marketing like that. And I always say, no matter what you're doing, somebody wants to watch you do it. If, like, I shouldn't even say this because we should still do this. I was gonna put up a website called Shit and Kitten, and I've got these cats that sit out front here, and they always shit in the French drain. It's 3 feet of gravel. They always shit right there, and I was gonna put a camera there and video them taking a shit. And when one takes a shit, the other one comes over and it smells where the other one shit, and it turns around and pisses where the other. They always do it. They're 3 cats, they're 3 males, they're brothers. Without fail, if you are out there for 30 minutes, one of them will shit, the other 2 will show up and do the same thing. Shit and kitten. And I was going to do this to prove a point, right? There is an audience for everything. There's, on the porn channels, there's a whole fucking genre of dudes that like to watch women take a shit. There's channels of people that just like to watch Asian girls eat ice cubes. There is something for everybody. So no matter what it is you're doing, somebody will be an audience for it. And if you can build that audience from 10, then you can make it 100. And if you can make it 100, you can make it 1,000. And once you have 1,000 people willing to give you $1, do something a little more valuable, so they'll give you $5. And once you have that, you have a business. And if you have a business, is your business worth it? Are they talking about it when they're not watching you? Are they telling their friends? If the answer is yes, if you added enough value, excitement, entertainment, education, now how do you equip them? What's the call to action? Can you sell them branded merchandise? Can I get them to buy a coffee cup? Can I sell them a t-shirt where they will talk and represent your company out in the open? And the answer is yes. I'm the only one I've heard say that. I've taken a bunch of pieces of things I've heard other people say. I say this frequently, almost every night, every other night on live feed. I say this exact same thing. So I'm like, okay, I can't find, if I could pay $5,000 and take me and a couple dudes, $5,000 a piece, go to Vegas for the weekend or wherever, and sit in a building and have people just do hour seminars telling us things we need that are actionable, I would pay that. I've never seen it. Gary Vaynerchuk, fucking all these guys, these media guys, right? They do these things and you go and spend all this money, but all it is hire my service. Make content, make content, make content. You got to be on every platform, right? Gary Vee says that it's because he's invested in all those companies. He doesn't tell you anything you could actually do right now on TikTok. There's tons of people on TikTok saying it. It's not all in one place. It's, hey, we do these things, hire my company and we'll do them for you. So we've been saying we're going to do something and put something together. We're going to cap it at probably 100 people. So it's a smaller event. And I want to bring in dudes that are the best in their industry that are not in our industry. Like I want to take dudes with multi-million views on YouTube and go, how did you do this, right? Because they don't know what to tell you, and you don't know what to ask them. So you have to get face to face and have conversations. And they're going to throw something out, and then I'm going to say something, and that dude with millions of people, I'm going to say something he doesn't know, and he's going to say something I don't know. So we just all have to be in the same area and have the same conversation, and we'll scale that into something larger and maybe some kind of online platform where you can get that information. But I don't know where to send you. I haven't found it myself. Anybody knows the answer to that? Fucking post it up. The videopreneur. For the sake of argument, let's say the Republicans control the House and Senate after November elections. Do you think things will begin to move in a better direction, correct direction? Or do you think that it will only appear to be moving in a good direction, only to get more of the same bullshit we have been getting for the last 2+ years? Okay, so what you're asking is, if Trump becomes president, will it get better? I think it will get better. But what you need to remember is Trump passed more gun laws against you than Obama did, right? We see all the things. Trump is the only president that passed any regulations, removed anything, or changed anything that truly made things better in my life and put more money in my bank account, thus putting more money in my employees' accounts and my family. Only one that I can ever in my 50 years, Trump's the only one that did anything that made things better. He still did shit that took away from you. It's just the chipping away, right? The Patriot Act. The Patriot Act wasn't about anything patriotic. What did the Patriot Act do to you? What did it do? It limited a lot of the things you could do. It cataloged you in a lot more manners. It made PayPal send a 1099 to you so the IRS could steal part of that money. And then the next one. And none of it's about the Patriot Act. Whatever they call it, it's the opposite. It wasn't about bin Laden. It wasn't about any of that shit. It's just like the Treason and Sedition Act, right? Treason. Were we not going to kill guys anyways? Did we really have to pass a bill so that we could hang people who gave Russians secret about our nuclear program? Fuck no, we were going to do it anyways. It's about passing things and putting things on the books that they're going to do to you in the future. And that's what's going on. Just like the Patriot Act. All of a sudden they were able to get into your safety deposit boxes. Why? because Bin Laden's got some keys to some 747s he might bomb some buildings with in your safety deposit box. No, it's about taking away from you, and they are always chipping away. And let's say Trump even means that he's going to do good. How long is Trump going to be president for? 4 years more maximum. How long is he going to be alive for? It doesn't matter. It's not going to affect our kids. Will it be better? Yes. Will it give you and buy you some more time? Yes. But they're coming for you. You need to decide when that's going to happen, right? Why are they arming all these IRS agents? Why are they sending all these IRS agents out, right? And there's always some little cunt when I do these videos. It's like, John, they didn't actually hire 83,000 IRS. We're well aware of that. Well aware of it. The money's there, though. So there's some graft. They are hiring more IRS agents. They are putting them out in the field. They are going to take money away from, if not you, somebody that you do know. And they're going to send out all these bills, and people are going to be like, oh, thank God, they're only telling me I owe them another $1,000, so let me just pay that $1,000. How many million people are going to send in their $1,000, right? It is going to affect you. At what point does the U.S. citizen, John Lovell, Warrior Poet Society, just did a great video about this, I think yesterday. And he said, I'm not promoting this, but at what point are U.S. citizens going to be like, we're not fucking doing that? And if enough of you said we're not doing that, they wouldn't be able to enforce it. That's why they come so heavy-handedly, and they will burn people's houses down and kill their families to make an example, so that when you're almost to the point of, I will not tolerate this, you second guess it, right? If you have nothing to lose, you will fight. If there's some hope, I'll just give them, if I give them half of everything I've ever earned, half, they'll go away, right? So they just, a little bit more. You buy a little more time. I think it's all a show, man. It doesn't matter what fucking team you're on, as long as you're on the team. They don't care. When you're not on their team, right? When you start growing your own food, when you start trading things for other things, it's like you can grow all the chickens you want and kill them and turn them into meat, and you can give that away to every one of your neighbors. But the second you sell it, somebody will report you, and the FDA will come out and they'll want to fine you, and they'll want you to have to set up this license, and they're going to want to check out all your shit. They don't give a fuck when you're giving it away. It's only when you make any fucking money doing it, right? So how do you do it without them finding out? And that's the biggest thing. Our biggest problems in the world come from your government. Your government has literally fucking done nothing in the last 5 years that made things better in your life, especially if you're watching me. But how does your government find out you're doing it? We have the tattletale, right? But they're not data mining your shit yet. They're cataloging it, right? When they come to you and they want you, every keystroke, every word, every internet search is in a database. Then they task 10 analysts to find your crime, right? Because they want to make an example of you. Let's find the crime, and now we have a warrant. Let's go get this guy because he said some shit on the internet we don't like. But in your real life, day to day, when the dude knocks on your door, somebody you know told on you. How do they know you're selling rabbits? Well, because it's in a Facebook group. The FBI wasn't in the Facebook group. The FDA is probably not in the Facebook group. One of the motherfuckers in the Facebook group who breeds rabbits fucking told on you. That's the biggest thing. Now that I've said it, what is it? Reticulative reactionary system, reticulatory system. When I say blue Honda car, right, and you see one, now all of a sudden you see them everywhere. You've never seen them, but now you notice 20 of them today. Notice in these groups, especially the homesteading groups and the freedom groups and shit like that, rabbit raising, chicken groups, there's always motherfuckers in there telling you you can't do some shit. Well, that's illegal. I'm gonna take chicken. I'm gonna take this milk and sell it non-pasteurized. Oh, you better not do that. Well, it falls under my boutique food law, right? I can do that here. Oh no, you can't do it. Right? Those are the motherfuckers that are telling on you because you are doing something they are not willing to do. I do all these. We do these urban explorations, right? We go into these old abandoned factories, old abandoned buildings and shit, right? Literally been abandoned for 50 years, right? There's no doors on the buildings. There's not even windows, right? We go in, we video, there's nobody in there. People are like, how'd you get permission to go in there? What the fuck are you talking about? Well, it says no trespassing. Where did it didn't say fucking no trespassing the way we went in. And what do you fucking care? But everybody wants to jam you up for some shit they weren't willing to do. Just remember that. I think we've addressed all of these. We'll reread over these and pick a few winners out of these. And thanks for the questions, guys. I hope if I didn't have the answer, I hope I at least gave you something to think about with them. All right, so I had Amanda pick some winners. Number one, she picked Jay Davenport, but Jay Davenport, you are not, you're not in Thunderdome, so we can't.
I didn't confirm that he wasn't in Thunderdome. He just didn't leave his info.
Okay, well, Jay Davenport, you didn't leave a order number, and you didn't leave a shirt size, so we assume you're not in Thunderdome. So if you are, in fact, in Thunderdome, level 2, then next time you leave a comment, leave that information, and if you're not in Thunderdome, join Thunderdome. So her second pick was Amy Lynn Jones. So Amy Lynn Jones, we will be sending you something, and thank you for your second level membership, and thanks for the question. You picked okay, Aurora Rings. We will be sending you something. Thank you for your comment, and thanks for your level 2 membership. And those are our winners for this week. Thank you for everybody that commented.
Man, I'm talking about